That's
No,
pill.
and it's a whole different product.
You'll massage me.
Does anyone watch Chimpanzees on PBS?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, fun. That's interesting also. I like to, I go with Lenore once a month or so. I like to try new places. So the next one I'm going to is in Cigarette. It's called Mulligan's. It's not fancy, but it sounds interesting.
Where is it?
Amazon. Amazon.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't let you know.
Speak a little louder so we can capture what you're saying.
Missing one.
Leave one for Dan.
I had to chip it. What happened?
And there's Monica, and there's
And
Nan.
they are. Morning.
Did you sign her, David?
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I got his son down now.
I have a check for you. Oh, okay.
Yes.
How about me?
It did.
Oh my God.
Oh.
I'm getting kids really beat
it
up, I'll tell you. It's hard to get through it, so I got new.
My wife had 8.5.
I had a 4, but 4 days.
Yeah, they had a bedroom with ultrasound.
Yeah, they had an ultrasound. Mine
How
had
is she?
5 or more.
What are we talking about? What is that? What's that for?
Kidney stone.
Oh
Was
no,
this
those
recent?
are painful.
I just spoke to the other day. When you
Still
did
down
that.
I'm telling you, it doesn't stop.
I got one right now.
That's all it was.
If it
You're talking about
moves, I'm in
sand and
trouble.
gravel.
This is like
Really came to leg after that, after that one was coming through, it was like.
And this is what he
I
said.
know the pain.
Hold on, let me get
I can't do that unless I know who he is, so I can tell her. I would not give it away.
Yeah, I know there was another one in this picture further over the way.
Yeah.
The little one.
Still a 10-year-old.
That's a 10-year-old.
Very tiny.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's the other one, yeah, I recognize it.
That's right.
Where is that taken?
Stay here.
Is that a
They had a
number
lot of
for him?
stuff.
Looks like where my niece is, and she's in Iceland right now.
This, I didn't know what this was taking.
Wow.
Wonderful. Like we flew into there on our way to Amsterdam. Steam coming out.
Monica's dead.
A week's vacation with a girlfriend. Last year it was Croatia, and before that it was South Africa.
They're adventurous.
That's kids today.
It makes sense.
Oh, thank you.
Who's got the signage?
Here, Monica.
Charlie signage.
And the other number?
469.
469.
446.
446.
0905.
0905. Okay. Phyllis. Who knows? I ain't going there.
David. The other David.
Yeah.
I forgot you were a fan.
I forgot to put it on.
I know.
You want me to put the X in there?
Yeah, put a big X. I want everybody to be able to read 2 or 3 people.
Anybody?
2 minutes.
Can I have a copy of this?
No.
And as people are coming, we
What do you need, a
know
copy
where
of?
they're going, but those who
Um,
Sign
You
it.
got one right here.
Financial stuff.
Got one there and
No,
there.
I got here. That's not mine.
That's yours.
It's yours now.
Thank you.
Not at your desk. You don't need paper all over.
Oh, shut up, John. Nobody smart ass.
and people would just.
Well, if you can't cabinets on hospital, you might have to smart.
They had 3 volunteers in front of every bus with
Oh, that's okay.
And it says Adrian G,
where they kind of tell us about
And people will
Oh, I know.
I won't know definitively how.
I don't say anything, I don't care if anybody.
Yeah, I don't care. I know.
No, we're talking about baseball.
I wrote on the list, I didn't have to use my.
Yeah, I know.
That's me.
Oh, I did see that.
Oh, for some reason David couldn't change it to my name.
One click
Thank
vote.
you.
I think it's just, you did that.
I had a nice committee. And the caterer was unbelievable.
There you go.
Will the operations committee please come to order? Come on in. Come on in. Please have a look at the minutes. These are Yuko's minutes. Please have a look.
They'll have a check.
Concentrate. Have a look at the minutes. And I'm sure we can find a chair for you.
Thank you.
It's
No, it's okay, I'll get a chair.
He's getting one.
He's getting one. Thank you. The service here is terrific, I think I'll come again.
Okay.
That's
Thank you.
We got two chairs coming.
Sleep. You don't think
It's
you
a very high level now. It's very popular, at least on the military and government side. They have everybody stand up at meetings, figuring that they'll be miserable and want to get out.
Right, right.
But they're not 55 and over communities.
But we can't stand that long.
All right, any corrections to the minutes?
Not a correction, but would this be the appropriate time to talk about that push button entry in the clubhouse?
No.
No? Good,
Well, we'll get
good
to
of the
it.
order at the end?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
we'll
cause
get
I
to it.
have a comment on
But the
it.
minutes, is
Yeah.
minutes okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
as far as I can see, yes.
Yeah, come on, welcome. All right, then minutes will be accepted as written. Thank you, John.
You're very welcome.
Another excellent iteration of minute.
Make an announcement, silence their cell phone so I can
Yes,
hear
please
when I'm
do.
making my minutes.
Please turn off
Or
Is that for
your
everybody?
cell phones or other electronic devices. Which brings us to the queen of numbers.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Good, great.
Good, okay. This morning we're gonna start out by looking at your statement of operations for the 2 months ended December 31st, 2017. For the month of December, we had $432 in revenue. We spent $475,000 in expenses, so we had a loss for the month of $43,000. For the 2 months, we had revenue of $836,000. We spent $967,000, so a loss of $133,000. You'll see that compares to the budgeted loss for the 2 months by pretty much break even, $1,600. I will point out the largest variance in the expenses is the security contract. It's over budget, $11,821, and I have to take full responsibility for that. The reason it's over budget is because at the end of the last fiscal year, at October 31, the final bill for October came in late, and I missed, when I reviewed financials, that my accountant did not accrue the last 9 days of October. So we were under budget last year, but this year we're gonna be over budget by those 9 days because we didn't accrue it at the end of the year.
Yeah, tar and feathering, I think will be
I know.
called for.
My apologies.
At the very least. I know, 30
You're not
lashes.
getting fired, you stay.
Okay, under your social activity summary, for December, we had $31,488 in revenue for the theater, $4,800 for your New Year's Eve dance, and we paid $35,000 for your theater, dances, and movies. bringing us to a profit of $861 for the month. For the 2 months, we had $57,000 in revenue. We paid out $5,500, so we had a profit of $2,300. That's compared to a budgeted loss of $2,700, so we had a positive swing of $5,000. This very bottom line tells you how our collections were for the 2 months as compared to what our total coupon is for WPRF, and which is typical this time of the year. We collected $56,000 in excess of the revenue budgeted. That's generally the time of the year when people prepay, when they get their coupons. A lot of people like to prepay for several months. Any questions? Okay.
Question.
Yes, Barbara.
I just, maybe you can help me. On expenses, salaries and wages, why is there December actual, then actual November to December? It should be within line, right? I mean, with that budget, shouldn't change much.
No, it doesn't. To the general reason that will change is if an employee is terminated, and we have to pay them accrued vacation and PTO.
Okay.
That does happen.
Okay,
And that's usually why you'll see a
that's what I'm
fluctuation
asking.
there.
Okay.
And we had someone who left for a higher paying job.
Okay.
And then this past month, we also terminated an employee, so you'll see it again.
I'll profess my ignorance, what's PTO?
Paid time off, sick time. Any other questions? Okay, your next schedule is your cash balances. You'll see that at the end of December 31st, our total operating funds were $381,000. And our total available windstorm infrastructure and improvements reserve funds is $1.3 million for a total of $1.7 million.
Meeting continues?
Pardon?
Your balances are down.
Yes, ma'am. You're gonna see it down even more January.
Why?
But then in February, it's gonna start to come back up because of the money that's been spent.
I thought, you know,
We
maybe
discussed
I'm
this
ignorant.
last month and
No,
I
no, no.
told you it was gonna be lower.
Okay, I'm also ignorant of something. I thought that most of the heavy duty stuff was done in the summer months so that the residents wouldn't see it, feel it.
This is the work that was primarily being done behind the clubhouse.
Okay.
That was done in November and
I'm just
December,
amazed,
right?
you know, like we always talk about, well, let's wait until the summer so, you know, the residents won't, you know, the bulk of the residents won't see it. Okay,
Well,
not a problem.
just as a reminder, I had come to the committee and said that because we were not ready with ADA walkways or anything that we wanted to do
I
this.
know, no.
November and December, and I asked for permission. Right. So this is still what you're saying. Was done.
We hope it will
We
end.
did some in January. Oh, we're at the tail end. We're at the
So what I'm listening to is we've spent more than we should have spent.
We
No.
spent it faster than we
Faster than
budgeted
coming in.
that we would
Okay, so
spend it,
therefore,
yes.
if that's the case, do we have to cut back on some other things that were budgeted because of the expense of this?
No, we do not, we just have to
That's what
slow
I'm-
down on
So we
spending
have to
money,
keep
so
things
we-
a little bit catch-up
yes,
time. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you're promising us at the end of your year, it'll level out.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we
Absolutely, you're
wanna
gonna go
know.
right through the budget. Terrific, thank you.
Unless you add anything to it.
We don't have anything.
If we request.
Bottom line is, boys and girls,
We're starting multiple people talking very early in the meeting. So let's try to stick to one at a time. Marcia.
When I left this meeting last month, I asked Eva about the fact that this committee gave approval for the work that was done behind the clubhouse. And she said that she would call me and show me the tapes, because I said they gave approval, but I don't think they gave approval that without bids. And I didn't get a call from you, so you couldn't say that it was done, that they gave approval without bids. And I'd like to ask this committee if they remember telling Eva that they gave approval without bids, because if that was done, it certainly shouldn't have been done. I'd like to ask the committee that question.
You guys voted on it and agreed.
Yes, yeah.
However, we had
Not
several.
everybody.
Not everybody,
Yes,
you were
that's
not
right,
one of them.
that's right.
I started looking through some of the meetings, Marcia, they're long and it's not easy, it's time consuming. Actually, I'll never make that offer again, I will let the resident find it for themselves, I can tell you it was in the month of October. I've gotten through a couple of the meetings, I haven't gotten through all of them, but you will get that call and I will bring you in.
I recall this project being
done that
voted.
without bids.
This project was voted.
Oh, the project was
That's
voted.
what she
Yeah.
said, she's
I
saying
think it's a
about
question of the
bids,
bid committee.
bids. That's what she's saying, am I right, Marcia?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
They shouldn't have, this committee should not have given permission for them to do anything without bids, and I'm really not sure that they did.
We voted.
Should I remind everybody again of the conversation?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Should we continue?
And said that I would not use any vendors that had not been approved in the past, where we know we got good service, quality service that gave us the best prices. And that after this particular set of projects in the back, we would go back to getting the 3 bids that would go to the bid committee. And the committee agreed, most of the committee agreed, enough of the committee agreed that we were able to move forward.
Well, it's this committee's responsibility to watch the people's money, this is the only committee that can do that. And if they didn't do that, shame on them.
John.
To the best of my recollection, seeing how I write all this stuff down, is that whenever it come up, it was kinda like, we got all this work needs to be done, and we only have enough money to do to December. We're gonna go ahead and get January and February done, and we'll pay them when the money comes in. So it's either you're gonna have to stop in the middle of the project, wait till the money comes in, we'll go ahead and finish the project and then pay them. And that's all we done here, we said, okay, let's get it done, we'll pay them when we get the money. And thank goodness for the contractors who's willing to do that work and wait on their money.
I think it's a question of I think, I do remember that part of it, is that it would seem to me that you had the contractors in line, you were gonna do it, and they agreed to do the job, they agreed to do the work, okay? I don't know about the bid committee,
It did not go to the bid committee.
no, but what I'm saying is, I think this was a deal where they actually said, they have those contractors, we wanna use them, we wanna get the job done in X amount of time.
Right.
So bottom line is, they used too much money in too quickly a manner,
And now they're
and
gonna
they
pay
did
it
not,
back.
and then they also, but they already told you what they were gonna do. And for want of a better idea, I think we okayed it. I don't approve of, I don't think we should ever do that. It's fiscally, but bottom line is, that wasn't my decision. I think I was one of the abstainers, but that's okay. Bottom line is, once the job got, I think she's right. And I think you should let her off the hook as far as going back to all those things.
I think we did the last
Yeah.
meeting.
So let's.
Eva said, if I'm not mistaken, that
She
she
was
made
gonna
a
use it.
mistake. She said it wouldn't happen again, she would go to the bid committee, so I mean, it looks beautiful, that's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Okay, bottom line, let's move on, boys and girls, cause I'm not gonna go through this.
It didn't come to bid committee, but it's a good faith type of situation. We, in good faith, will do anything that is proposed to the bid committee. If it doesn't come to the bid committee, we can't do anything about it. But what they did in the final result is beautiful. So, I mean, how much of it will be a change, I don't know, but I will say this. We always want to have everything come to the bid, but for the 1 or 2 times that it doesn't, we should look at it and say, well, is it successful or not? And I guess if you look at it, it's pretty successful.
I think there were 2 reasons for doing it quickly. One was a health and safety issue. I mean, it was really dangerous back there, and either get it done or face a lawsuit by somebody tripping and falling using the tank courts, the shuffleboard, and whatever goes on in that back area.
Right, there was no, listen, when this facility was built, there were no ADA requirements. We're not ADA prepared anywhere unless we go there and specifically do that. We had to widen walkways. You know, we're putting up railings to keep them from walking across the uneven surfaces of shuffleboard. I see them do it all the time. All right, so again, I have always used the bid committee, and I would never not come to the committee and say, this is what we want to do, can I do it? And the reason was exactly as Don stated, it's life safety. And so we went ahead, we said yes, and we went ahead and did it. But I made several promises.
Not life safety. The plantings had nothing to do with life safety. And a lot of money was spent. It's beautiful. No one's saying it's not beautiful. The plantings will cost a lot of money and they had nothing to do with life safety.
Yes, it did, from the theater.
Absolutely, Marcia, you're not correct on that particularly, but what I don't understand is you were at that meeting. You've been at every meeting. I don't know how you missed it. And while you say I don't lie, you don't believe me either. So, okay.
You got a little
Let's
leeway.
continue.
She's campaigning.
Let's continue.
Let's continue with the.
Bottom line is,
Yeah,
folks,
please.
I don't have 2 hours today.
We took a tour of the area prior to the construction work being done. It was obvious that what had to be done had to be done. I'm not supporting or opposing the accounting process here, but I agree with Dom that it would have been stupid to leave it the way it would have been with the construction, the holes and everything else, and wait until the accounting caught up with the job. So common sense says this was the only way to do it, get it done, make the adjustment in accounting, it's finished, okay, let's move on.
Can I make the point that whether we'd gone the 3-bid process route and done this in the summer, it's the same money spent and it's the same money that's been approved by the committee. I did not, spend money that you didn't approve for projects you did. I should say projects you didn't approve. So the same money would have been spent. It just would have been spent in the summer where we were trying to get things done before we were in the crunch, which is January, February, and March.
Too late, it's in the
Just to add to that, just a little bit more so you understand what happened. We did get other bids also, just want you to know that I have bids for the concrete work. Dos Santos definitely was under on that bid. I personally wanted to make sure we were, to cover ourselves, we do have another bid for the concrete work. The other thing that was really important that we had to get going to make that happen on the walkways and all was that the awnings wouldn't be able to fit without the walkways being done for the support structures and the bases. So that's what this is something that you approved the awnings, okay, and we went forward. And I could tell you the pickleball courts and the extra electrical, we will bring that to your attention, okay, when we get that, and we have already 2 bids already for the pickleball board courts, which we will bring to the committee. Okay?
Absolutely.
Can Monica continue with the financial report?
That would be nice.
Okay,
Thank you, Barbara. The next schedule we're looking at is your summary for your social activities for the month of January. The detailed report has been provided to David, so it'll be in the UCO office for anybody that wants to view the detail. Theater performances, we sold 8,294 tickets, collected $91,000 in revenue. After Vendini cost and backing out the sales tax, it gives us net sales of $83,000. We paid the performers $83,000. We have a $118 profit.
Wow.
Yeah.
At least it's a profit.
Yeah. 1,627 folks attended your Saturday night dances, and 2,445 people attended the movies. We paid $1,475 for the dances, $1,605 for the movies, so that brings us to a loss for the 3 activities for the month of $3,000. I would like to point out that you would have made a larger profit during the month had it not been for the annual resident show. I think everybody knows, I put a footnote on here. We sold 688 tickets for the 2 shows, which provided $3,200 in net revenue, and we paid the producer and the choreographer collectively $16,000 for the resident show.
Are you saying that for 2 performances?
Yeah.
$8,000.
Was 600?
16,000.
That's $8,000 a piece. $8,000 a show. And they were good. It's worth every dollar.
688 tickets.
Not-
An opinion.
No,
But you-
I know.
You lowered that a lot, so I remember. it
All right.
used to be a lot
Used
more.
to be
Barbara.
I just wanna point out something so nobody gets too excited. This is the monthly report, am I correct?
Correct.
We usually wait till the end of the year, when everything is calculated, and then the bottom line of what it cost us for shows or didn't cost us. Cause for the last, I don't know how many years, we have broken even
We have.
or been plus by
Right.
2,000, so
That is
don't
correct.
jump the gun yet.
Right.
Well, I can say that I have something in mind that would reduce the cost for the resident show by about $5,300, and that's something that I will be bringing to the committee at budget time.
Yeah.
That's a tease. We'll have to wait.
We'll have to wait.
Bottom line is, I think you have to understand, you're either gonna have the resident show or you're not gonna have the resident show. Whether it's Publix or Winn-Dixie or anyone, there's such a thing as a lost leader, you know, in the business, you know. Bottom line is, there's always something you know that you're gonna put on and spend money on, and you know you're never gonna get. But in the same instance, if you have enough people who really enjoy it, and you have enough people, it's like an activity. How many activities around here cost? How about sailboats? I wouldn't even go near how expensive running the sailing club is. But these people love it, and I think it's a great thing for them. I wouldn't deny them that, you know, in the same, how about the tennis courts? We don't even wanna go there. But I mean, you know, but we're gonna be going there eventually.
We're going there.
I mean, you know, but bottom line is, once again, you gotta understand the type of lifestyle, the type of thing. You know, if these people wanna get up there for 2 shows and do their little thing, maybe it costs a tad much to have it, but in the same instance, you know you're gonna lose money, so what?
Right, plan on it.
So what? Plan on it.
One might ask the question, do we need this high-end director, for example?
That's not my business.
There's
That's not,
three.
that's not,
We do
that's-
that, we go through the same. But
Yeah.
again, just as a reminder to take you back in history a little bit, when I first got here, maybe within a year or two, it was discussed. And that maybe you would do away with the show. And if you'll remember, Yuko was, they started marching at Yuko with placards.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember? So I just wanna bring that to your attention, this is well loved, it could be better attended, but so could some of the shows.
Yeah,
And I would hate to see you do away with it,
yeah,
it's something
it
that's
doesn't make sense.
enjoyed by so many.
It doesn't make sense to get rid of it, that's for
Like I
sure.
said,
But
it's
I
a
do
lost
have
leader,
an
just
idea
leave
to
it
bring
alone.
down the cost somewhat.
Joyce.
I do remember also discussing cutting it down from 2 shows to 1 show, and we decided that was not a good idea. I also remember us discussing whether we could find a director who lived in the village as opposed to paying, I think it's JM is the director?
JM.
That we, instead of paying him, but that never went through either, because we couldn't find anyone.
That 16,000 is split 3 ways, you've got a choreographer, then you've got the musician, and then you've got JM who directs it.
No, I'm not criticizing that, I'm just saying that these were discussions.
Just informational for everyone.
Right.
To some extent.
Yes, and that does go toward costumes.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
that's not.
Costumes?
No.
Well, which July makes themselves.
I just wanna say, this is all very well and good, okay? But this is not the time for us to discuss it until we see the bottom line at the end of the year.
That's what I'm-
If
that's
we're in
what
the
you're
red,
saying.
then we have to discuss it. If we're in the black, there's no discussion.
Right.
Moving on. Moving right along.
Estoppels.
Okay, the next report is your estoppel report. This
What are
again.
estoppels?
Again,
An estoppel is a fee that is charged to provide a report for the prior to the closing of a property for sale, to let the title company know what must be paid for this particular unit at closing. For
Okay,
example, WPRF has to issue an estoppel for every single sale that takes place in this community to say, this unit owner is current, or this unit owner owes 3 months. The associations also have to provide an estoppel report. And because the WPRF employees provide that report, we charge a fee for that, as does your property management companies. We didn't used to charge for it many years ago. I think we started charging for it maybe 7 years ago, something like that. So it's been a nice source of income.
I just never knew what it was.
I will make a comment, although this really,
Never knew.
and if you haven't had the experience, boy, are you in for shock at the association level. Since July, there have been radical changes in the estoppel law. It used to be I would get a call from a closing attorney, a title company. Are any monies or assessments coming due on the unit? I say no, or yes, as the case may be, and that was it. Now you're gonna get a 4-page document. And many of us, you're gonna have a problem filling it out. Now fortunately, Andy Rosen will do it for those who have him as the manager. This is a complex form, and it has to be done right, or you can really, it can bite you. The whole idea is that the incoming unit owner is not hit with any hidden financial traps, right? Like a huge assessment on the horizon or something like that. So you've either seen this, if a unit has transferred in your building, or you haven't. And it's, I don't think, you're not gonna be happy with it.
Where does it come from?
It
Where
comes
does it,
from,
to
it's
the
gonna come
association?
from the title
Title
company.
It comes from the seller. The seller
From the
has to pay
seller.
the estoppel fees.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Absolutely. So to recap, for the 3 months ended January, in this community, there were 107 units that were sold. We collected $16,050 for estoppel fees. We charge $150 per estoppel fee. Interestingly enough, this is a 21% decrease for the same 3-month period the prior year. For years, I would say 4 years, the number of units being sold in this community has been increasing double digits every single year.
Right.
Until the very end of the past year, where it went down 4% overall. That was the first year in years the number of units sold had declined.
All right, I'll ask you a question. Have you correlated cost prices going up or down?
I do not have access to the prices. We don't track that.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
my guess is they'll be very similar.
I will tell you, prices
Average
are on the
price
increase.
increase.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Prices are definitely
So-
on the increase.
Yeah.
People are looking for that bargain, there's fewer and fewer to be found.
Right.
And most of the
a good
bargains
thing.
around here are bargains because they're, fixer-uppers, yeah.
Right.
So-
Renovating.
Go ahead.
Okay, next on the agenda is the UCO Communications Center, and I'm gonna turn that over to Mr. Cruz.
Okay, we're looking in approximately about 2.5 more weeks, okay? We're at the stage right now of all the rough inspections have been scheduled, so they should be closing up the inside of the facility probably sometime next week, where they'll put the sheetrock all inside and close it up so that we can get the sanding and painting, okay, and getting that portion of it. So we're looking at about 2.5 weeks before the whole system is done. The stucco has been on the outside, windows are in. We had some little code issues, very minor, okay? And as we agreed upon on the drawings, that's how it's actually going forward, okay, so. Yes,
All permits taken care of so far?
yes,
That's all.
all the permits are in, and we are just waiting right now for inspections for the rough-in inspections for electrical, plumbing, and framing. So as soon as they finish those rough-ins, okay, then they can go ahead and close up.
So waiting for 3 of them.
Yeah, and then we'll get the sheetrock and screw inspections, okay, after that. And then we could go ahead and start painting and really closing it up, you know.
Tony.
I think that we should have the beautification, do something with the front. No, I'm serious.
Wait till they're done.
Landscaping, yeah.
This is like, I think I've heard that there's going to be a new person heading it, and I think we should put her in charge.
Of what?
Grass, beautification.
Communication.
Yeah,
get it-
it's
let's
a
get it
UCO,
built first.
it's a UCO
We
thing
finished.
now.
We will,
What are you bugging?
we
You
will
bugging?
certainly ensure that appropriate landscaping is done.
Same.
Well, you need irrigation first, but
Yeah,
everything you
of
plant
course.
is gonna survive.
And where is Cam?
He hasn't
called
been
out.
He'll be back.
Did you mention irrigation?
I did.
Yes, you-
Is that gonna be up to the people that we're taking the building up from or us?
I would assume that the irrigation is there, but it's just not probably working properly,
So they probably can't do nothing with it until they decide where they're going to put any shrubs, so you know where the irrigation should go. So I wouldn't put irrigation in yet.
Irrigation is a stone's throw away.
Like mine is.
We have irrigation all over Southampton. It will not be a big problem. Alright? It's all under consideration. The first thing will be to get a lease signed and transfer as many costs. This will be, I have learned from the masters, a triple net lease.
Net net,
And
is
they
that what we're
will
calling
be paying all costs. Alright?
I would still rather see the landscaping done by us, it is our property.
No, excuse me.
Go ahead, it's already been determined.
Atlantic Broadband may want topiary
No.
clippings to look like antennas. Go ahead.
On a net lease, just like with WPRF, we approve everything. So they have to get our approval before they do anything,
Yes.
even though they're paying.
It's
Like
built
we,
into.
you know,
No, that's not necessarily true.
oh no?
No, because we have our corporate offices in an office building in West Palm Beach. I have triple net lease, I have no say-so whatsoever about what they're charging me on an annual basis for maintaining the property. If they're
They're charging
redoing
you.
bathrooms and stuff like that, I have to pay my fair share and I have no say-so in it.
So we can
It's
tell them what we
unfortunate, but
want,
that's
is
the
that
way
what
it
you're
is.
telling me? That's even better.
You don't need
I
their
like it.
approval in advance.
Don't you like it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Monica.
We're
All you
really
need is
kind-
the lease.
really kind of mixing apples and oranges, but we have built in architectural control and the total exterior control. You can't go crazy
It's in
paint
the lease,
jobs
in the
and
lease.
it's all being built into the lease. What we are so far lacking, okay, but we need to deal with the insurance, you know,
Yeah.
you know the story.
Bottom line is, here's what I wanna do, it shouldn't, I told, it's just me, I've been too far behind and I've had so much work. Bottom line is, I want UCO insurance at that building. Bottom line is, what we have, they're gonna have. You know, whatever limits we have, the way we do our insurance, everything that we have, they're gonna have, so that's what, they're, you know, and it's a good package.
Right now, our lawyer is fighting with their lawyer
About,
getting us the best deal.
oh, okay, well,
Alright.
bottom line is,
You know,
no
you saw
kicking.
it, they want, what, $100,000? Give me a break, it's nothing. You know, liability, no, it's not enough.
What, are you kidding me? It's
So we're working.
Do they understand that most of the people here are from New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts? I got you. And the first word it isn't mama, it's Sue.
I resent that, Tony.
Huh?
I
Okay.
resent that.
Moving right along, the next thing, we're gonna review briefly, we touched on this last week. The total amount of money that we have incurred for damage from Hurricane Irma. We're estimating $34,700. This money has been accumulated as we have spent it in the balance sheet, and we've used regular operating money to cover it. Now that we're at the end, we're gonna take this money and put it and expense it, and we're gonna take funds from your windstorm deductible funds to cover that. So we'll be transferring money from the windstorm deductible into the operating account. We just transferred in at the end of January, $33,481.
We still
There's
have,
2 invoices that we've not paid yet, we've not received the invoice, so we're waiting on that.
and can I just briefly say that we have some guests here that are here to talk about an issue over at paddleball/pickle, racquetball, and we will get to you as soon as Monica finishes the AR write-offs, and then you will be next, so you don't have to sit here longer than you already have, okay?
I'd also like to talk about the pool.
As soon as she's done, one more
Yes.
item.
Okay, one more item. The last thing I wanted to update the committee on is accounts receivable write-offs. I can tell you between November 1st and mid-February, we have written off accounts receivable to the tune of $58,432. That is the result primarily of 5 tax deed sales in this community. Last year, the whole year, we only had 8 units that were sold at a tax deed sale in this community, and this year, just in these few months, we've had 5. There was also 1 foreclosure. It was a WPRF foreclosure, but we were not the successful bidders. There was a third party that outbid us. So I just want to let you know that of that $58,000 that's been written off, $37,000 of that was base rent, $19,500 was operating rent, $362 was reserve, and $1,347 was interest and late fees.
On this bidder that got out ahead of you, is it your impression this was an individual or was this a
It was an
company?
individual, and it happens every now and then. It's
Specul-
been happening more and more. Yeah, they're
speculating?
investors. They're investors.
Investors.
Mhm.
Already present in the community?
That I don't know.
I bet you they will.
All I get is the name of the individual that bought it at the tax deed sale, but I will tell you this is typical of what's going on in Palm Beach County, cause I'm seeing the same activity in Boca. We've had even more tax deed sales in Boca for the last 3 months than we've had in this community. And when there's a tax deed sale, everything has to be written off.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
But the good news is, those units will have a new owner and presumably somebody that's gonna be responsible and will begin paying their monthly fees. So that's it for me today.
That's
Thank
it?
you.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Any
So-
questions for Monica?
Yeah.
Alright, you
Yes,
have a
excellent,
special
excellent.
event?
Who wants to go first? Do you wanna go with the pools first, do you wanna go with the?
We'll start with the pickleball court. Or
The
the
what?
paddleball, the paddleball court. My name is Emmy Berman, I'm from Plymouth. There is a large group of us that play paddleball 6 days a week at 11 o'clock. We've been doing this for years and suddenly the paddleball court has been almost taken away from us without even talking to us about it. It has, lines for pickleball court has been put down. We found out on top of our court, which makes it very difficult to see the difference between the red lines and the black lines, one for each court. The way I understand it, you can't even play pickleball on that court because it's up against, the lines of pickleball are up against the fence and up against the wall, and you can't even go back to take a swing, so it seems to have been done uselessly. There are, from what I understand, 4 other pickleball courts coming to that area, Eva, is that correct?
Yes.
This would make it a 5th. In essence, you've taken away the paddleball courts from us. From what I'm understanding also, we're entitled to the court at 11 o'clock is when we come, but if there's a pickleball group there's no way that we can ask them, please leave, which leaves us no place to go. There are 4 other courts that you are intending to build there, plus the ones over at the tennis court. You've left us high and dry.
Okay. Well, certainly not my intention. The pickleball courts will not be staying over at the tennis area. As soon as the new pickleball courts open up, those will close down. And right now, the north court is closed because we have another sinkhole.
Okay.
Another sinkhole. I don't know how it's being washed away.
It's not saying, we already proved then basically the base is gone, so
Right.
we're gonna keep having those problems. There's now sinkholes, don't call them sinkholes, they're just
They're not.
deterioration in the ground. Sinkhole's a whole different story, okay?
Right.
But basically the base is gone, so your asphalt is deteriorating as the base continues to keep, deteriorating
That's a
also
bad
underneath.
spot over there.
Yes, that's it.
Correct.
It'll be corrected when it's taken off and new base is put back in place.
And so I'd read articles of how they take the same area and they put different lines down for different activities, very successfully. It was not my intent. I did not know that that would be the reaction. So I do apologize.
What
And
can
so
you do
now,
for us?
well, I'm gonna have to do something, I've gotta
Please.
Can you
figure that
paint over
out.
the lines?
We're gonna have to
If you
paint
paint over the lines, we'll have our court back, and meanwhile,
Right.
I happen to be colorblind. And seeing lines red and black and then it doesn't make sense, so I cannot play really. I mean, it doesn't make sense to even go down it.
This is the only paddleball court?
One paddleball court.
One paddleball court,
And
only
how
one.
many pickleball courts are there?
They're supposed to be,
Right now, we have one.
and they're going to build 4 in that same area.
Alright.
Also, another thing which doesn't impact on us, but I think you should know about it, the beautification back there is gorgeous. However, having said that, and I pointed this out to you, Eva, there has been no path from, there are 2 concrete, there's a concrete path, there's beautiful flowers, another concrete path, and then the courts. To go from one concrete path to the other, you literally have to trample the flowers. They're not, nobody's walking around, there has been no path to cross it.
There's
As
not.
much as you tell people don't do it, they're doing it.
Right, but there's not going to be a path, because we're closing that middle door and everyone's gonna have to enter and exit from the west side and or the east side. So that door will be chained and it will be closed. And look, you guys are out there for exercise, that you would take 10 extra steps to avoid walking through the new plantings.
Sounds good, but it's not happening. I'm there every day, it's not happening, it's a shame. They're gorgeous, build a little path there so nobody can have an excuse as I'm too lazy to walk around.
Yeah, it's a difference between high level plans and the real world.
Exactly. Well, we thought that we would have, for years, we've been thinking about it and we were dreaming, we were hoping that we'd get a second paddleball court to service the amount of people that play paddleball. To find that we were in this position instead, made it really off the wall.
Listen, I apologize, you know, we do everything with good intentions. This one backfired, and I do apologize, and we'll do what we can to get it set straight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That can talk about the pool.
Marcia, hold on, Marcia's been waiting a long time.
Yeah, where is this sinkhole, so-called sinkhole exactly?
It's on the north court of the pickleball courts, next to the tennis courts.
You're talking about by the tennis courts?
Yes.
There's Somerset.
Okay.
Again, not a sinkhole,
Is
depression in the
this
town.
committee aware that Eva took the responsibility away from the water department and took a $15,000 check without consulting this committee? And now the responsibility is on us instead of the water department. I don't know if this committee is aware of that, because she should have come to this committee for their approval and did not. And this happened about a year or 2 ago.
She's running for president.
She never criticizes
Some
anybody.
of that is correct, but some of it's also incorrect.
Okay, what part is incorrect?
Well, Monica brought that information to the committee, that there was we were gonna be receiving a $15,000 check from the committee, and that is what paid for the resurfacing of the
I don't think
tennis courts.
I don't think you paid
Can you
this
wait till
committee.
she finishes and stop interrupting?
I mean, like the way you do?
Yes.
Oh, the way you do.
Business as usual.
Come on, gang.
I don't think that was true. I don't think they did that at all. You later told us about it, and you didn't tell the committee about it, you told individuals about it, and that's how we found out.
Marcia, we don't do business that way, we don't operate that way, you know
That's
that.
exactly
We would bring that to the committee.
This committee had no idea that that responsibility was taken away from the water department and did not get the approval of this committee.
Alright, Barbara.
Okay, I wanna ask, lady there. Okay,
Emmy?
you play paddleball. There is a handball court there, is that the same court?
That's it.
Same court we're
That's
talking
the
about?
courts. One second, there are 2 courts.
Two handball
No.
courts.
What's
No.
racquetball?
There's a racquetball court that has 3 walls,
Right,
that's enclosed,
Yes.
except for the back end of it.
right, of course.
Right, that's racquetball, and that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay,
And then to the left of that is one wall, that's paddleball.
that's the
And
one
that's
you're
the one that
talking
was
about.
taken away from
So,
pickleball.
are you telling me that we took away that paddleball court?
We didn't take it
Okay.
away, as I
Making it
said,
multi-use,
it's
which
a
is
multi-use.
making street number 1 difficult because
They
of the
put
double.
lines on top of lines.
I'm following you,
Double
I'm
sets of
following
It's
you.
impossible to play with.
And
Okay.
if pickleball comes in before us, in
You
the
can't
morning,
play.
we can't play, and there's no way, from what I'm understanding about pickleball, that they can play on that court because the line for pickleball is,
I
the
know
how
baseline,
much I play,
the
I know.
baseline is about maybe
I know.
a foot away from the
The
back
fence.
fence and from the
Okay,
wall.
so then let me just direct to you, Eva, if we made that just for paddleball, that court as it is, take away those lines so you can
Right.
see.
Right.
We'll be okay still with pickleball there, won't we?
What do you mean?
You're still gonna put pickleball courts there, right?
Yes.
So,
In a different location.
Yeah, we have no problem.
no, that's what I'm saying, so if we
Yes.
can leave that one court
Right.
as it is,
Battlefield.
just change the lines, they'll be happy. I'm sure the pickleball people will be happy with the amount of courts they're getting and the problem.
Yes,
Sounds great.
we're in the process of solving the problem. And
That's
again,
good.
I take it on me completely. I made a mistake. My intentions were good and it backfired, so I apologize.
And let's just get a walkway, please.
We have a walkway.
All right.
We're just waiting for the railing.
Good.
The other item that we wanted to talk about is the pool, clubhouse pool. The clubhouse pool is probably the most biggest asset that we have in the village. It's, you would go by there and on any given day, there were 100 people sitting outside, talking nice, it was beautiful.
It's the guest pool that we're talking about.
Oh, that's what he's talking
The
about,
heating
guest.
issues.
The heated- heated
The
guest
heating
pool.
issues, yes.
Unheated guest.
Unheated.
Now it's unheated,
Take a
right?
look now, there's 4 people at the clubhouse pool. The rest of the people went to Camden, went to wherever. As I say, the asset, which is the most beautiful asset that we have, we'd like it back. We need it heated. It's colder, and it should be able to be heated to the same as.
Absolutely.
Right. We brought this to, the last 2 months, we've discussed this. A new system was put in called heat exchangers. We have heat exchangers that heat the indoor pool to 92 degrees. They work very well, it's cost savings, all right? So we installed it for the guest pool. We've had problems with it, and though it is heating, it is not heating to the point that we need it to heat. Right now, the pool has been registering at 81, all right? We had Debonair out again yesterday, and for the first time, we finally broke that 81 mark, and this morning it read at 84. So we're moving in the right direction, but we've had nothing but problems with it, and I will let Dan also take over.
It's all, remember, this is all, you don't see this system anywhere. This is the first time that we're actually experimenting. At the Boca facility, we have, but there are different tiles because you don't have 480 volts here. We can't use the same heat exchangers that they have at the clubhouse to do their 2 pools. And it works fine, it keeps it at 85. We have the heat exchanger system that needs to be bigger for that pool. So we have actually put 2 extra heat exchangers onto it. We're piping it, and hopefully by like I was telling her, it took a little time to get the indoor pool. I remember we were having complaints of that. We have to deal with it. We had the coldest weather for hitting this for us to play with. So we'll definitely have it up and running. Maybe already it's at 84. We'll definitely have it working for the next month or so, going for the future. The next season, we will definitely be prepared to handle it. But unfortunately, this is what happened, and I can't. You know,
Do I understand that there is a complaint because the pool is only 84 degrees?
Oh, 81. And that's cold.
81. What do you want, folks? A hot tub?
Excuse me, go to the Camden pool and see that temperature.
Excuse me,
Choice.
I live in Massachusetts, it's an unheated pool. I'm there June, July, and August. The water, if it gets to 80, is freezing compared to the air. You'd be amazed. 80 sounds like it's very warm, it's not.
It's not. And we only got to 81 recently for the month of January. Not only did we have atypical cold weather, then we had temperatures in the 50s at night. We had successive cloudy days that people don't understand how much the sun helps us to heat the pool. So January worked against us. Now that we're in February and the coolness has eased a bit, we were able to get to 81. As of this morning, it's 84. So we're moving in the right direction.
But the Camden pool is 86 all year round.
Yeah, it's 20,000
And they don't use
degrees,
heat
20,000
exchange.
gallons less than the one
Yeah.
in the one in the clubhouse pool. Big difference in 20,000 gallons.
Right,
40,000
the
gallons.
Camden pool is the same size as.
Honey,
Raise your
I'm
hand.
not saying that we'll get it at 85. The pool will get there. I'm just telling you the
But
problems
it's
that we
4
had to
months
get
since
there.
it's cold water.
I
You build a
understand.
building, a skyscraper in 4 months.
Well,
And you can't fix a pool.
What if you put a cover on it? What if you put a cover on it?
You know,
We have to cover up Massachusetts.
are we discussing the system is not sufficient, not
Yes.
not transferring enough calories? Do we have to start talking about heat pumps?
No, you can't put them there. You have no place to put them. The only thing you could do is spend the money that you did 60,000 and do the indoor pool again. If to do heat this pool, you probably spend $120,000 a year. So what we are doing is the most efficient way of putting it, cause you don't have any space to put any kind of other heat pumps with what we did so far. That's why we eliminated the air.
Make sure to put the flowers.
Alright, Dominic.
When the health department comes out, you get a citation if the water is hotter than 85 degrees.
If the water is what?
85 is optimum.
85 is the optimum by the health
You
department.
get a citation and they'll close the pool down if it's above that.
And what,
Yeah, 'cause
and
what
what's
is
the
the
temperature?
Bacteria start.
I have no idea, I don't swim.
I believe it's like
But-
Okay, one at a time, please.
The reason being that bacteria accelerates.
Yeah, that's right.
Just-
You can only get it so
I
hot.
just have one more thing,
You know,
sorry.
we've gone through this, I remember personally calling the breakers. And a number of the big hotels, and they keep their pool approximately at 78 degrees, and nobody complains about it.
No, that's ice cold.
That's freezing.
Not ice cold.
Yes, it is.
You're running air conditioning at 80 degrees.
It's different, David, it is different.
Elderly people need more water.
Just to
You gotta
let,
raise
Dom
your hand,
just hit a
please.
point right there, 85 degrees, okay? What's happening is, and my people now I've instructed this in Boca too. They try to compensate, and then what happens when the warm temperature comes, then the pool goes up to 87, 88.
Right.
Then they're used to 87, 88, and it goes back to 85, 84. We're now keeping them set at 85 degrees. They don't touch them, you know? Whether you think it's cold, the heat pumps only work at a certain temperature, they're gonna shut off at a certain temperature. You're gonna have to deal. The only other system that we could put in there, which everybody knows how expensive it is to put a gas system in there. They keep it at 85, you will not be able to afford all your pools to be heated at that, I can say that.
40,000 a year for the indoor pools.
60,000.
60,000.
Hold on. Marcia,
How many months though? You know how long this is going on? How many months does it take to fix the problem?
Marcia, like I said, you're not gonna see this system anywhere, okay?
And
That-
I don't
this is
care
good.
about that.
I
First
do.
of all, the
I
signs,
do.
the signs that went up said go to the Somerset pool. Why were the people directed to go to the Somerset pool? So we had everybody coming to the Somerset pool when there's lots of pools.
That I don't know about, but I
I
can just
can
tell
answer
you.
that.
Okay, answer
That's
that.
my decision.
Oh, I'm sure it was your decision.
Oh.
And why was that your decision is the question.
Because it redirected all those people who were showing up in cars.
And I thought I was.
Quiet, I wanna hear Eva.
Where there was enough parking spaces to handle that overflow. You know, at Southampton Pool, we have no parking spaces. There's not one parking space that is assigned to WPRF at Southampton. Why would I send them there? Dorchester, the pool deck is so small, okay, that I can't even put lounge chairs on one side because the deck is not wide enough to even accommodate a lounge chair. So yes, that was my decision to go to
Well, it wasn't a good
Somerset.
decision, because all those people with the tennis players and the pickleball players, there was still no parking.
People generally come for the pool a little bit later than 7:30 in the morning when the tennis players are there. They
And
leave
it
right
shouldn't have
about
taken all those months to fix the problem, it's ridiculous.
It's been, listen, the system has been working at 81 degrees. If you don't like it at 81 degrees, I can't, 82 is really the common if you go look at it, okay? At 85, we're keeping it pretty hot for you. So, if it was not, and it was 7, 8 degrees, sometimes 10 degree difference between the resident pool, and I had people swimming in the resident pool, that's amazing, but, okay, so I apologize for this, I told Eva, there's nothing she could do, there's nothing, and ours, we had to test the system, and we had to see how it was gonna work, okay? And there's cost to it all, okay, so we try to, see what the best system is.
he's next.
Thank you.
Sir.
I'm living here for 18 years. I swim 6 days a week, never had a problem swimming in a guest pool, never, up until September. Since September, I do not go to the guest pool anymore, because it's too cold for me. What happened since September? The pool broke down?
Yes.
It takes
Yes.
4 months to fix a pool?
No,
You
it's
can
been
build a new pool in 4
I
months.
said you don't, the
But you
difference
can't
is 4
afford it.
degrees, 81 to 85.
It's a big
It's not-
difference to a person,
I
or a
understand
senior
that.
citizen, person's body at that age, there's a big difference between 81 and 86.
But the good news,
Can't-
Mr. Kohler, is
Yes.
that we have all these pools to choose from.
They're not
Right,
happy,
but the
you
children
don't-
can't go to the
you
guest pool
don't-
anymore because it's too cold, so they go to the Somerset pool.
But that's not
They go to
you.
Camden pool
That's
and
not
tell them
you.
to get
You're not-
out, you can't go to the
You're not
Camden pool.
going with children.
Go ahead.
You're not going with children.
think I
Your
need a
point is that
cigarette.
you are
Yeah.
swimming, but you have other pools to swim at while we
wants to
deal with
massage
this
my back?
issue. Our intent was to save money and our intent was
Yeah,
to
you
put in
can
a
have a
better heating system. The
Okay,
fact that
I
we've
love
run
you, but
into
your
one
hands are
problem
different.
after another, we've had, believe me when I tell you, the traffic we've had trying to get that fixed.
can you
We
answer
take
a
it
question,
seriously.
please? How many phone calls did you get complaining about the guest pool so far?
I've gotten several.
Several?
I've gotten
She
several.
made about 10 phone calls herself.
There you
One
go.
person made 10 phone calls. If you want, I could bring here 200-300 people complaining
Yes,
about
about the
the
Camden
pool.
pool, I also spoke to
You
him
want
about the
200-300 people?
Wanna stop hollering?
David, come on,
screaming. She's young people.
they gotta raise their hand like
All
all
right.
of us.
In the words of H. Irwin Levy,
You can have anything you want.
you can have anything you want as long as you're willing to pay for it. We can ask WPRF to come to this next budget with a full-up propane system.
For
and-
all the
and-
pools.
And wait till you see what the costs are gonna be.
No, 200,000,
All right.
easy.
So,
I have a different question. Why did you try this out on the biggest
I
pool
might
that
as
you
well
had?
put my
If
hand
you
up.
wanted to try a new system, why didn't you try one of the small pools and then
All right,
work?
folks.
Ma'am, I'm gonna just say it one more time.
if
You go out to that pool there, you'll definitely get 84 degrees and you go swimming there today. I can assure you by tomorrow, this will be taken care of. Unfortunately,
all right, I want you all
I
to
don't know how many
listen.
times you gotta explain it.
I'm gonna give you a little Judge Ito. If you keep bursting out in the gallery, we'll clear it. One at a time. Hands up, Barbara.
Okay. I understand the frustration with some of these people with the guest pool, especially if you have children coming. But I have to say, the sign was up in the clubhouse to go to Somerset. That might not be sufficient for some people because they like Somerset. I don't even go to any of the pools, okay? But if I was directed and my grandchild was here, I'd go wherever they tell me. I have a pool, okay? They just told you they're working on it. They can't do much more than work on it. Yes, 4 months, I agree, is a long time. But what are you gonna do? He's working on it. Now he's got it up to 84 degrees. Let's see what happens from here on. Now, hopefully, when this cold spell comes down in Friday or Saturday, right? I hope that you'll be able to keep it at that level.
Well,
That's
I could-
the challenge.
Well, let me just tell you something. This year, compared to any other year, you would have been cold, no, I don't care
Yeah,
from
it
last
was
year.
cold. It
So
was
I'm gonna
cold
tell you that
coming
all the
here.
pools were way below average, okay?
January.
In those cold spells, so go swimming in the other pools and tell me if they were 85, cause I can tell you what temperatures every single pool was, and this is at the coldest spell that we've had in probably 3 years
That's
since
right.
I've known that,
You know
okay?
what?
So I just wanna tell you, we are doing
You're
what we need to
working
do,
on
and we're working on it, and I guarantee you that this system will hold up better than the other ones, okay? So just, again, 4 months, yes, it's a long time, but unfortunately, this is new, and it takes money to do and increase the pipe size, and also buy
This is
extra
about
heaters
the
for it.
election.
We normally have 4 of these things working,
This is
we're putting
orchestrated.
6 of these things inside of here. It should take care of this, the problem. And again, it's 84 degrees today, so we're getting there, okay? So all I can tell you is, go swimming today and see how it feels.
And you're
I
keeping
guarantee you
our
it's better.
costs down if we went another way, believe me.
Yeah.
You think that the people on here, I know I watch my money when I shop or when I'm sitting at this table. I don't wanna have an increase a month of $20 or $25. So we're trying this. It's an inconvenience, yes, but it's not like we only have one pool. We have others to use.
And I have to say, and I'm standing up to say this so I can make eye contact with you all, you're taking this personally. This wasn't personal. This was us trying to better something and reduce costs and put in a system that's heating an indoor pool to 92 degrees and we could take it higher, okay? A
Oh my
system
God.
that's housed inside so it's not affected by the cold temperatures outside where the heaters are shutting down so they don't burn out because they can't keep up with the cold temperatures at night. So, look again. I've taken a beating over this, and I'll gladly take the beating and I'll take the time to explain it to everyone. This wasn't intentional, okay? And we're trying to do good things here. The pool is at 84. Please go today, and I wanna hear from you ladies. Let me know if you can tell the difference, all right? The other problem is, we have a resident pool that's not even heated. How easy would it have been for me if that pool were heated, that when we ran into these issues with the guest pool, that I could have just taken everybody and just moved them over to the resident pool. That's another issue I'm bringing to the committee, because I want the costs approved to try to do something with the resident pool.
You know, folks, the physics of this, you can't beat it.
I don't wanna.
Unless you wanna throw a lot of money at it. You have an outdoor pool, the temperature drops into the 50s, the transfer of heat from the surface of that pool, you can't keep up with it. Alright, Herb.
You know, Greenberg is a private pool, and we have heat pumps, and for years, people have come over and said, it's too cold.
Yeah.
But it's 87. And I said, it's too hot. We can't keep it at that. We have to drop it back. You wanna get it hotter. If you do wanna, if you want that kind of a swimming pool, there's an indoor swimming pool, go to it. This pool is for recreation. It has to be at a safe level. And we have children going there to our pool, and we make sure that it's set at a set heat level, and that's it. We're not gonna play this up and down game.
I get it, but we haven't even been able to get it to 81.
Right.
I mean, it was only once we got past the cool weather in January that it got to 81, but that's insufficient. Now it's at 84. We're making forward movement, and I believe that within a week or two, we will have it at the 86.
And I just wanna say one other thing. Everybody wants what they want, but nobody, if you said to them, well, we're gonna have to increase the maintenance fee because everybody wants all these individual things personally, they don't even wanna go up $1. They go nuts if it's $1 increase. So can you imagine if you had to spend megabucks to do this for just, it makes no sense.
Bottom line, Herb, it takes a lot of energy to heat lots and lots of water.
Exactly.
Anita.
We have a plan. It ran into some glitches, which all plans do. The glitches are solved. We've got a plan. The pool's gonna be 85 degrees.
I didn't hear that.
I heard
He
that.
did say that.
That's what he
That's
said. 85.
Dominic.
Stop
No,
already.
85.
Stop. So let's
move on.
Let's be glad that it got solved, and let's keep moving.
And as we speak, they're in there working on the system today and tomorrow. It should be all piped in for ready to do this thing in there.
Hold on. This lady's been waiting a long time
Please come
against
to
the
my
wall.
office for anything additional. I'd be happy to sit down with any one of you and discuss this further.
Okay, I'm not talking for myself, because I swim in the residence pool where it's cold, and I don't like the public pool, so I'm not talking for myself. I'm talking for people who have been there for years, and I'm here about 13 years already, have enjoyed the social aspect of the pool because it's warm. Older people like it warmer. You, sir, I'm sorry,
85.
over 85.
85 is.
But
maximum.
But the inside pool is 92.
That's inside.
That's the indoor.
That's more of a
That's probably because they have different types of keeping the pool.
But right
Wouldn't
now,
go near that.
the one up above is heating the pool. Because of the weather's been so gorgeous, that pool's gonna maintain a higher temperature.
Yes, that's
What we're
helping us.
concerned about is the winter time. You took away something from the people in the village that we had and we don't have anymore. We needed to get back to 85 degrees.
It's gonna get back to 85, but again, it's not the only pool in the village, and any one of you have the option of going to another pool, understanding that we're working on fixing the problem, and you don't have to deny yourself anything, it's just a change of location, it's geography,
If it's temporary,
and
it's
you will
okay.
be coming
Right.
down. Of course
You
it's
can't compare
temporary.
the layout and the.
I understand.
The
The
ambiance,
windows
you're losing the ambiance, don't you understand that?
I do, I'm the one who took out all the bushes, so you get the ambiance
Right.
that you at the resident.
Alright, hold on. You know, you missed something that Dominic said.
Anything?
Now, I'm glad to hear that pool's 92 degrees, but I'll tell you something, code come in here and shut it down. As these temperatures go up, you start to develop bacteria.
That's
And
right.
believe you me,
You don't wanna.
it's not the kind of pathogens you want infecting you. So then we have to start playing games with over-chemicalizing the pools. 92 is okay for a hot tub, which is properly chemicalized. And I remember, Kurt Weiss complained about the pool at Greenbrier. Nice 43,000 gallon pool, he wanted it to be 98 degrees because his back hurt. These are not hot tubs, these are not therapy pools. 85 dead on. That's code, I believe.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, when it goes over, you brought up a very good point, and just to let you know, that with our pools, there's a temperature of 104 that can't exceed, that's a code thing, okay, on a spa, alright? But if you look at a spa code, okay, every day you're supposed to dump the water and pre-pump it again. So if you look at every degree that we've put in there, the chemicals that we have to, so that it's sanitized for you safely. Now, the new computerized system has done that for us to keep the chlorine levels where it needs to. But we're using a lot, and luckily it's the tablets that we're actually in the indoor pool. At 92 degrees, let me tell you, we use a lot of chlorine, and I have to dump that pool every year, half of that's over 20,000 gallons every year, just so I could keep the chemicals inside there working properly. So every degree that we go up is more money and also safety for us in the way of that. And if 85 is that, a code inspector could come in, if somebody got in there, we could get sued for these kind of things and citation for it. So the indoor pool slides by, because a lot of people like it as a therapeutic pool, okay, especially if you have arthritis and stuff, so that's one thing that came up.
Alright, hold on, Marcia's been waiting.
Well, there are other aspects that were not discussed. Eva, your sign by the pool says no more than 26 people should be in the pool. Well, because of all these people coming, there certainly were days when there were much more than 26 people in the pool. Your sign also says no bells. Well, lots of people had bells. The round bells, not the noodles, just that noodles are allowed. The round bells. That's what the sign says. No
Water wings.
Also, some of these people are putting the chairs on the grass. And
That's always been an issue.
No, not at Somerset. At Somerset it has not been an issue. Only at what behind the clubhouse has been an issue, not at Somerset. So we have other problems going on because of this issue. And the guards are not enforcing any of these things.
Sir.
I just wanna say thank you very much for trying, we appreciate your efforts, and we appreciate your sensitivity to the problem, thank you.
I will definitely take care of it.
Just wanna,
Thank you very much.
I just wanna suggest, I don't know if it's feasible or not, but there are places where they put a cover over the on the pool at night.
That's too big.
To be able to retain.
Thermal covers.
It's just maybe if it'll help, you'll save some money because a lot of the.
Very expensive.
I lose overnight, you don't lose.
If you like, I could discuss that at a different time, and especially because of our pools and the oval size of them. But it's something that we could discuss in another later time, okay? But it's.
Thank you.
Very expensive.
Plus I have to keep the pool closed.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You know, the rest of the years ago, they requested not to take it out. It was a lap pool. They
Thank you.
wanted to use it.
Thank you very much. We will take care of it. Okay. Okay. No, it's a good suggestion, it's just I can tell you why we can't do it, but it's a great suggestion. If we wanted to put a cover on that.
I used to like
Alright, folks, it's past 11 o'clock, and we really haven't gotten into, the
We're not
agenda.
halfway through.
So it'd be good to move along. Stuart.
Just an aside, 2 days in a row I passed the Somerset pool about 8:15. Almost all, in fact, all of the parking spots were taken up. When I rode around the second time during that sweep, every tennis court, pickleball, everything was filled up. The only spots that were open were the spots that faced the work areas where the guys pull up and they open up the doors to whatever construction they had. I go to the Camden pool very often because that's part of my responsibility. I stop and ask everybody, do you have any complaints? Not once did anybody complain to me at the Camden pool that the pool was too cold. Every time I went there, people were in the pool, nobody complained. The complaint they did have was divided between two groups of people. One that disliked, and I don't know if it was this man, somebody doing laps in a pool without looking around and bumping into people. So that was one, I know Eva is aware of that because they had said something. And the other group couldn't care less. So you cannot please all the people all the time.
That's right.
But as far as, that's an issue the people at the pool will deal with until perhaps the lap pool is heated up when the weather changes and you won't have that again. But the other thing is that no one, and we have a range of age groups that are in that Camden pool, from the young 55s to the 85s, and no one has said, because I walked right up to them and I asked them, well, what are your issues? And no one has made any comment about that. Was that
Good, you know,
not even
that's
suggested.
Unfortunately, Camden is my unfriendliest pool.
I agree.
I get phone calls, I go there myself to deal with the issues because they treat people so horribly and they actually move into the path of the pool's large enough they can stay out of the way. So you've got this lap swimmer and they'll deliberately move into his path so they bump into them and then they make this big
Complain,
stink.
yeah.
But several of the residents have my phone number and they call me and I go running immediately to deal with it and I put several people on notice who are the worst of the bunch because it's a very unfriendly pool and they were not nice to the people with the children. So I took them out of there and sent them over to Somerset.
Okay.
I know where they come, the originated, this is the New Jersey group and the Brooklyn group, and they are very, very tough and nasty. Because they holler at me too, as if I can magically fix it immediately. So, you know, you have to know how to talk to them, which I do, and if there's an issue that needs to be attended right away, I'll go to Eva and mention it to her. Otherwise, I would wait until the meetings.
That's good.
John, Eva is right on the money. Camden Pool,
Oh, yeah.
because I live in Camden,
Nasty group.
probably the nastiest group of people around.
That's right.
Okay? You just, unbelievable, you know? They accept me because I chew them out right back.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah,
Keep this
let's.
one to death.
Yeah.
All right, guest pool heating, Dan's already covered that. We've got damaged bollard. So I just wanted to show you this picture. I get this picture on my phone. I'm thinking, oh boy, we got some major damage to the gate.
How could people
Shouldn't really hurt the gate.
Oh my
Oh, it
God.
didn't.
Hurt the car.
Hurt the car, but not the gate.
Yeah,
That's
of course, that gate's steel.
No,
No, it's aluminum.
So what?
We should give driving tests in this village.
this is why we sustained no damage to the gate.
Okay.
Oh, the bollard, is that what that
Yeah.
bollard is?
Now, to replace and repair, or to redo that whole bollard, that's $1,000.
Jesus.
And I'm telling you this because I had someone who questioned this. We put in 4 removable bollards.
Yeah, they're
And the
good.
cost was high. For 4, it was $5,000. But these are ones that are removable at the entrance to the resident pool, so that if we have big equipment that has to come in, we can take everything out. But just so you know, but also I can't even begin to tell you, you know, we would have had to replace the gate had that bollard not
I'm
been in.
presuming that person's insurance is gonna pay for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, just double checking,
Absolutely.
that's all.
Oh, yes, no, she
Okay.
apologized.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
was she on the phone?
Yeah,
I
must
don't
have
know.
been.
She was very
How'd you guess?
happy to give us all her information and very
Okay,
apologetic.
good, okay, that's
She'll
good.
take care of any additional costs.
subrogate.
The license plate says New York.
Yes, it does.
I thought New Jersey was the last.
But the funny part is, who just said New York? Cause these people only drive in Florida, not New York.
That's right.
Next case,
They take the
tailgate
train
party.
there.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I just wanted to let you know, the tailgate party was extremely successful for anybody that was there. We sell it out every year. It's only 176 seats that are available. I'd love to at some point move it into the rest of the party room, but that's gonna take projectors and screens. And, but we did sell it out and we're still working on the final costs.
Go
We
Eagles.
had three sponsors that donated $300 each. And the food that was brought in by Rotelli's, which was, what was it, meatballs, garlic bread, and I think it was
Rollatini?
rollinis.
Mm-hmm.
No, pasta. That was $920. So that's where the money went to bring in some hot food instead of the normal sandwiches that we do. And then we brought in, we did have a Buffalo Wild Wing, I think.
Wings, yeah.
They donated 150 cheese sticks, so then we bought another 150 from them because we weren't gonna have enough,
yeah.
plus wings and this and that, so I think it's a very generous event. And next year that we're gonna have to raise from 5, I think, maybe to 6 or 7.
I think that you should think about next year, if you don't have extra TVs and you have sponsors. Those sponsors are getting a lot of people looking at them. A matter of fact, AB had a wheel. I didn't go to this year, but I was told everybody loved the wheel AB had. They were giving little tchotchkes away, whatever. But I think that anything that I ever did when I was involved with anything, that I had sponsors, the sponsors carried me. And I think you should get more money from your sponsors. This is a big venue in here, and they should pay for it, and we shouldn't.
Well, I think we should hit AB Atlantic Broadband up for more.
Yeah,
Definitely.
sure.
Something to
Why
think
not?
about.
Victoria Jolson.
I just wanted to let you know how that Victoria Jolson book signing went. We had about roughly 85 attendees. She wound up selling 10 books for $20, so she walked away with $200 for her efforts. And it cost WPRF $200 to serve wine, coffee, and we got some crackers and cheese. We put everything on a plate in advance. 'Cause doing it from 12 to 3, I was afraid if we put out cheese platters, people were gonna look at that and go after it like it was lunch.
Right.
So we predetermined 3 crackers, 3 slices of cheese, and a glass of wine. It went very well. The residents loved it, would like to see more like it, which brings me to, I might as well just do it now.
Well, question.
Sure.
You said there was 85 people there. Where did you have this book
We did
signing?
Party room.
Party room.
Okay, I'm only going to say you had 85 people in a party room that holds much more, and that might have been able to be used by something else or another club. I'm just saying, maybe. So think about that in the future, because you have room C, which holds 199 people, and you can still do that.
Correct. I really have to make some pretty big decisions and changes as to some of the space that's allocated
That's
in
what
the
I mean,
clubhouse. And that is coming.
Okay.
And I wanna discuss it with Mary and then I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
I don't think anybody would say nay to what I'm gonna propose
Good.
because I don't have any major meeting rooms outside of meeting room
That's what I'm
C.
saying, I know.
So yes, that's coming. We've got some,
Okay.
I'm working on some pretty big we've been approached by, I know I have it here somewhere. Tony Bennett's brother, John Benedetto, he started a book, he passed away and then his wife finished it. So she would also like to come in.
Could I get that name again, please?
Benedetto,
It's
that's
called The Shadow of a Smile. It's
Tony
John and
Bennett's brother.
Patricia Benedetto, John Benedetto is Tony Bennett's
I know.
brother.
My cousin's Benedetto, I know from Corona, so I know very well.
So, she would like to come in, and that's Tony Bennett's sister-in-law, and to do the same thing, book signing. I would love to set it up in March.
I think it's a great idea.
And I'd like to have
It should be very interesting.
We absolutely will do that, David, if you'll give me the money.
Yeah.
What's that you're gonna do?
Chateau Lafite.
James Patterson probably like to come in too.
Who?
James Patterson.
Go, hey,
He just
you
lives,
send
he
him my
just lives,
number.
he just lives down the road.
Good, all right.
He
Yeah,
knows the
set it
4
up.
arts.
Anyway, I would look, this is something that many of our residents would love. It's much more cultural than any of the things
Yes,
we've been
yeah.
doing. It was successful, I think as word gets out, we'll have raised attendance, so we do have those.
I'm very interested in things like that. The library, for instance, the Palm Beach County Library is having a writers event this whole month and next month. At each library, they're having like a speaker, like an Andrew Gross, I mean, well-known authors who obviously are wanting to sell their book. So I think I would be willing to be on some sort of committee possibly to see what authors we could find, who live in the area.
I love the idea and I'd rather turn it over to the residents. You come to me and I'll help make it happen, but if you guys wanna search that out, you go for it,
I'd be
Joyce.
happy to, because I'm a big reader.
Go get James Patterson.
Oh, yeah, Culture
He
Breath.
was at the Four Arts.
I saw him.
I brought up to the officers, just throwing it out, that I think that we need something called an activities committee. And I think this would fall right into line with those special events
We had one,
that, no?
No.
don't we have one in the bylaws?
No,
Buried,
no, I don't think
list
so.
of standing
An
committees?
event, and they're event committees really, and it includes the honor flight, it includes all of those kinds
That's
of
what I'm
things.
saying, but I think that we need to make it so that, like every other committee around here, we have an oversee, somebody from UCO, a committee chair, and volunteers that will be making up part of that. I think it would be, we're letting too much, as we know with the 5K, get out of hand to the point that we almost get to the end and we're like, we're having problems. So we shouldn't let that happen again. That's why I suggested, Anita, if we actually have a committee that in the bylaws that actually would cover something like that, I think that we should start making it more formal, I really do,
It's not
cause like
set up, it's not set up.
that, okay, so what I'm suggesting, and I
do
did
that.
mention it, I did already discuss it at the last officers meeting, that I think there should be one central and somebody from UCO actually being responsible and being overseers to what happens. Things just have a tendency to be, helter-skelter, and I think it would be a great opportunity for things to get, to be in a more formal way, to be done in a more formal way.
I agree with Tony.
Oh,
We
thank
should
you.
have an overseer over the committees and then someone in chair of each of the committees. But you gotta remember, we have, you had a newcomers meeting, which was really terrible. We didn't have hardly anybody there. I wasn't there.
Not enough.
Yeah, nobody was
And I'm saying that whoever's in charge here, and then you have chairs, like just you're the head here, you make sure those people are doing their job. You get a report from them and say, how's the newcomers, what are you doing to promote it? And you do that with every committee to make sure it's run, not be happening the last week or two. It has to be done ahead of time. Everything that's an activity should get started right after elections,
All right,
somebody.
this is fascinating. What does this have to do with Victoria Johnson book
Nothing.
signing?
I
Oh,
just
it
brought up
does,
the
it
books.
does.
I brought up the books.
This is the operations committee. Let's move on with the schedule.
Okay.
Alright, so I'd like to bring in Miss Benedetto for the month of March, set it up. And then from there, it's too quick for you guys to get your committee in place, you'll do that after the elections, but we can certainly set that up for next year. I'm glad to turn it over.
What's the name of the book again? We can take it out of order.
The Shadow of His Smile.
One of his songs.
Yeah. When are you going to do it?
I'd like to do it in March,
Okay.
Hey,
probably
David,
mid-March, give them a little bit of a.
David,
Just a comment, I actually did go to the Victoria Jolson book signing. It was a real entertaining few hours. Nice presentation. I really think it's something that should be done more often.
Good, thank you. I think so too.
Yeah.
I
Good,
think
it's
people
a
really
good thing.
enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
Herbie, I think.
If I have to, I make a motion, we go forward with this book signing thing for
Okay.
next month.
I second it.
I don't think we need to vote.
I don't think we need to
Agreed.
vote.
It should be just okay.
cultural affairs. Herb,
First of all, that's an interesting person, Tony Bennett, and it should be an interesting book. And everybody knows Mr. Bennett, so I think it would be a greater draw.
Right.
Let's do it.
okay. Are we done with that?
Yeah.
We are done with that item.
Yes, iguana
I'm
traffic.
gonna turn that over to Donald.
Donald.
Donald's been trafficking iguanas?
Morning, everyone. I had expected to bring 2 more bids for the iguana trapping today. I do not have that for you today. And here's my reason. I've not found a trapper yet that has confirmed that he will trap the animals humanely. The trapper I spoke to yesterday mentioned something about a snare. I didn't like the sound of that, and I'm moving on. The next person I'm talking to is our alligator trapper, Mr. Tyson, who is interested in taking on work. But I gave him parameters. You gotta catch these things that have a hard trap, and they have to be checked. I don't want any fish hooks or any.
No.
I'm hearing pellet guns, fish hooks.
No.
I just don't think the community will put up with that, and
No.
that's me.
Humane, I'd rather
That's
do
very
it.
nice.
That's why I defined a duck trapper who would relocate
Right,
them.
we've got one guy ready with Haverhart traps, so I'm looking for something that's, I hate to say it, apples to apples, but
It may be hard to find.
I'll continue to work on it.
Alright, not having really done an in-depth study on this creature, is there something non-harmful we can do to the environment? I mean, we know where they hang out, that would simply
Discourage them.
encourage them to go away.
No.
No, I don't
No.
think so.
No.
I think
Pretty determined.
They think life here is great, just like the rest of
That's
us.
right.
They don't wanna go anywhere.
They're old animals, they don't like to move. They're here.
Alright, Tony.
Saw one yesterday around the lake. I was at the drugstore. And bottom line is, are they dangerous? Can I ask that?
Not if you don't.
You leave them alone, they leave you alone. My concern would be with children, they fall, in my mind, under the attractive nuisance doctrine. And that could be problematic. Normally they run away.
Yeah.
But that big boy, he doesn't run away anymore.
No, he doesn't.
Because people have been feeding him.
That's the problem.
And that big Iggy can take a nip out of him.
Well, look, they're dangerous if you back them into a corner. Thankfully, on Duck Island, we have no corners.
But
So
this
that's
was,
the
this
good
was
thing.
just next to the drug,
No, I know, but I also got a report that I had residents leaving rice and things on the pool deck, and then they come under the railing onto the pool deck to eat. I had somebody leave spaghetti, white spaghetti, not with the sauce, on the pier. All right, the issue is that they're of great concern. We hosted off before I could see whether they were eating it. Problem is that they burrow. And the report is that they are burrowing, so you've got these overpasses, and they're burrowing in these overpasses, and they're weakening the structures, the support of these. This is becoming a real infrastructure problem. Florida is really facing some serious issues with these creatures. So
And next it's
that's
Komodo
why-
dragons and Burmese pythons.
That's why they destroy them. Nobody wants them.
Right,
Dominic.
Supposing we put a raft in the resident pool and put bait on it, and when they jump into swim and become immobilized, we pick them up and take them home.
I think
What am I looking at here?
don't have a great success rate.
The bollards?
And we just may have to do that, Don, so I'm gonna ask you to do some drawings and
You have to let the water get.
Be careful what you open your mouth.
Cool the water down.
This is gonna, Donald's gonna find
Right, the bidding.
a humane trapper. This is gonna come down to money, don't expect it to be cheap.
So, will this come next month?
Lazy people.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead, Barbara.
Will this come to this committee next month with a price on and how they're going to dispose of them?
yes, we already have one in, and the method is laid
it's
out.
next
It's
month.
have a hard
Right.
trap, check fairly. The animal will be euthanized once it's off
Alright.
the property, but we're not
Let's
slaughtering
continue.
them here in Central
I think
Village.
Donald personally is gonna have a very hard time finding 3 bids that are apples to apples,
Oh,
because
yeah.
trappers
They're gonna
have
have
different
different
approaches.
We'll all volunteer.
I called some trappers, though they advertised that they did iguana removal, I couldn't even get them to call me back. So I think you're gonna have a real hard time.
I just think
This is a real
for
problem.
people who love animals and that kind of thing, we should really set the parameters and
Humane,
yeah.
I would,
So, are we moving for this for next month?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
just
That's
an
so we can
update
go
on where
on.
we are,
Okay.
that's all.
Section
Tony.
Section
I think,
4.
I think that somebody from the reporter, where's Joy? Thank you, should write an article that we should not feed these animals. We've done that. I know, but bottom line is, they're creating, what's the use of trapping them when Mary over there, no, it's her, it's Joyce Reese, Joyce is responsible, I've seen her, she feeds the iguanas. She keeps them as pets. All I'm saying to you is, it doesn't,
She believed you, now I'm gonna get a reputation.
no, Joyce does not do the bottom, but also, you know, the duck problem. We have an association next door, I park my car, I look, and I'm hearing whistles, and they're feeding the ducks. Bottom line is, we should actually start seriously, if the association doesn't want to do anything about their unit owners who feed the animals, then something should be done as far as charging them for the cost of them, because I kid you not, oh no, you can see them, they didn't even care about that I had seen them do it.
You recall, we were removing ducks.
Yes.
This committee kind of recoiled at the $50 per duck charge.
That's,
You want
I want the
to bring
offenders to pay for. What I'm saying to you, all of us, no, come on, I'll drop the dime on those people, and I know I watched where they live, I watched them go in, come out and feed the ducks.
Turn them into the health department, they'll pay them a visit and warn them they have to stop.
I hope so, because no offense,
Call the health department.
they make poo-poo on everything.
I hear you, I wouldn't hold my breath.
Right.
You know, we have an alligator problem, you call wildlife control, and maybe they come and they expect the alligator to stay there for 3 days waiting for them. Herb.
Just for my own application, how are we doing with, we put out all those traps?
Rat
rodents,
traps.
Right. Has it been
Successful?
They stole
Yes, many have been stolen.
They stole.
Hold on. 40 odds have been stolen, but this isn't a WPRF problem, I think this is a UCO issue.
It's for you,
Huh? He knows what happened to them.
Okay, number one, these are not traps, they are bait stations. So there are no rats
Going the
inside
wrong
them.
way.
The animal goes in, eats the bait, and goes someplace else to die. So how much bait was eaten, that's in the report, and yeah, there was a significant amount of activity in the bait traps. Our other problem is that perhaps 40% of them have been purloined.
Oh my God.
Need for them. Alright,
Let's go down to the house.
alright, the action on this item, Donald will have more data for us next month about iguanas, but like I say, it's not gonna be cheap to get rid of these
Let's go, let's continue.
Alright, moving right along.
New business.
You're all looking at the photos that I just.
Yes,
Before I get started, Ms. Barber?
No, but I wanna say before you get started, it looks great,
Does.
it works well,
Yeah.
and I really think it was a smart move to do.
You know, and I know I didn't get to Marcia and what she wanted, but I'm gonna tell you that once we started getting the emails of the photographs, I was busy, I can't even tell you, buried in these, and these are not all of them, these are just the worst offenders. So the reason that we did this, okay, cute, the ducks trigger it, that's always fun, and that's the only cute part of it. I've got bicyclists with oncoming cars going out the inn.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen
How
that.
about this gentleman, and I know who this is, I'm gonna get to him when I see him in the theater, alright? Now here comes a bus, okay? But they are willing to take these risks. And then here you go, just one right after the other. And I'm gonna tell you, so on those that I could read the license plates, I made a list for my ID office. You know, with instructions that maybe an S is a 5, so if you don't find it with this, change the S to a 5 or vice versa. O could be a 0, O could be a Q. Maybe 3 out of a whole list of vehicles, we could identify 2 residents who then are gonna get letters with photographs. The rest of them, I don't know, maybe guests, visitors, caretakers.
You're talking about before you put it up?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
because many people,
people,
I'm not saying who, where the bump was,
Not
went
me.
around if no car was coming.
That also solved those.
Gee, who could that be?
Alright, folks, let's try to focus. Marcia.
Okay, so now you have pictures of cars that are doing these things, and what can you do about it? You can't find out who owns the car,
Yes,
you
you
can't, no, they don't have information.
You're right, you're right.
Yeah.
There are those we could not identify by the license plate.
We need red light
So
cameras.
that is
No,
why.
even if you, excuse me, even if you do have the license plate, what good is it? You can't get that information. The sheriff should not be giving you the information about whose license plate those are.
We're not going there, so my answer was, how do I, because security has been dealing with this, I don't think anybody knew it was as bad as it was.
Right.
Until we put those cameras up and we started capturing the images. So that is why I spent the money to bring in those delineators, all right? It was less than $2,000. It solves the problem of people going around the speed bump. It solves the problem of people going out the inn, all right? And the next step is the next thing on the budget, and I have a photograph for that too to show you.
Before we get into this.
No, you can't. The ambulance.
These cars pretty much fall into two categories. They live here, and those license plates are in our database.
Right, that's what.
Or they came through the gate
As a guest.
as a guest, and we have a picture of their license.
Excellent.
If we wanna put a little work into
I
it,
like it.
we probably, with a correct tag,
I know.
can identify most of these people.
Right.
Alright, so let's not give up. I think it's a good idea, I'm willing to do some of the work here, if we have the tag numbers, this is something, Eddie, Donald, me, we can do this. We have a huge database, every car that comes through, we're getting a picture of their license, Eddie.
And another thing you can remember, we had a man hit one of the arms, backyard, smacked into the neck.
And they had
Cost
to
us
come from
$1,350. His mother, who let him in, bought $400 in the other day.
No, we didn't let him in. He was living there,
Mother
sweetie.
let him move into this village.
Oh, yeah, and this is his
She's paying
address.
for the damages in the installment.
Unbelievable.
Let's not,
We should get the money.
let's not give up on this project.
No.
Let's start collecting these tags. They may be in your system, they may be in our system. And we could probably run these people down.
Daniel's very good at it.
You know, these cars don't drop in from the clouds. Stuart.
Yesterday, when I went over to the clubhouse in order to supervise and move people along to go to the buses for the ball game, which we'll talk about in a minute, when I found a parking space, the people on either side of the place that I parked were just like that. And I started to walk around and I saw more like that than parking right up to the line where they should. So it is an issue. The other thing is, and I mention it because we're talking about cars and parking and so on. While I was standing, I was there for 2 hours in front of the clubhouse as people were getting out of their cars and we were directing them where the buses were for the ball game. At least 20 to 25 cars stopped right in front of the clubhouse. And the driver got out and opened up the doors for people who were with walkers or canes and so on. And of course, the sign said, please pull forward, and not a one did that. In fact, one woman was getting out of the car and she was wobbly and reaching for her cane, and I ran over to her and I put my arm out and she looked at me, she said, "Is this a date?" And how could I holler at her anymore? So I escorted her into the clubhouse. But every one of them were going into the clubhouse for an activity. But I could see the problem because some people left the doors open with the narrow, left virtually nowhere to go. And somebody came along, the fellow that writes the baseball article, started to scream at somebody that was beeping their horn because they could not get through the area. The door was open and there was a little person virtually crawling to get out of the car. And he hollered at the woman, "Wait a second."
Right.
So it really is, and I understand where the problem is because I saw it, I was there.
Right there.
And there's really nothing you can do about it.
Well, there is. Security usually moves them along.
No.
Well, there is, you know, I'm told that when the clubhouse was first redone, that was a single lane. That lane in front of the clubhouse was a single lane, so
Yeah, we
anybody who
widened it.
stopped, whether it was a bus, everybody stopped and the traffic just
And there
built
was
up.
a lane under the porch.
Right.
Well, that was
Right.
original,
Very good.
yes,
Right.
original. But I believe Dan and I have been talking about what we can do to alleviate, because it's very dangerous, I'm waiting for the first person to get struck, and you're right.
Yeah.
The person who's gonna be dropping off the handicapped person is thinking about what they need to get out of the car, get the walker, get the purse, and they leave their driver's side door wide open.
Yes.
You know, it's a recipe for disaster, I
We-
believe.
We have put a guard out there.
Yes.
They were
Theater.
done.
As soon as they pulled up, move along,
Yes.
right?
But not people in walkers, we want them, we
Excuse
don't
me.
want to relocate them.
I'm just gonna say that.
But anyway, we need to take out, you've got the overhang and then you've got the expanse of pavers and the curbing. We wanna draw that back. We'd like to make it not just a 2.5 lane, maybe a 3 lane or a 4 lane. And have the buses line up right in front, because then the residents can't.
Right.
But where the buses were lining up, you could have 4 or 5 cars parked one behind the other, letting people go like at an airport. And we'd like to make that switch, but that's gonna take money, but that's something we're planning to bring to the committee.
Okay.
It's good to talk about this. What we need to see is a plan
Absolutely.
with some numbers
Let's
attached
get
to
back to
it.
the bumpers, please.
Okay.
Barbara.
I wanna get back to the bumpers, and this is why you showed us this.
Did we do bumpers?
If I recall, no, bumpers for parking.
Auto stops.
Whatever you wanna call them. Anyway, if I recall, you took them out
We did.
because they were a tripping hazard, am
Yes,
I
definitely
correct?
falling.
Yes.
And now you wanna put them back.
Well, because
I mean, you gotta understand, I'm just saying, I don't care which way we go. And that would be, I think, for your insurance person in WPRF. But we can't keep doing things and then redoing them. This is a very end expense.
what you know, you do,
Pull it way up
I
anyway.
told you the story, Dan and I were walking through the parking lot.
Yes, you
There's this
did.
92-year-old man who tripped over a bumper and had split his head open.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
God.
saying.
This is
They don't
not,
look.
We all know somebody who
and it
fell.
won't be the
It's
last.
not the first and it won't be the last. So now,
Well, we haven't
what I
had any
see
since then.
is I see cars cutting through the parking lots
They do,
Yes.
they do.
without regard for anybody walking because they can't see. They're cutting even through cars
Right.
to get,
They
rather
can't
than
see
going
anything.
They
all
do it
the
on
way down
show
the
night.
road.
Yes.
Alright, so now we have to weigh which one is more dangerous to life safety. And I've noticed that along the water's edge where we have bumpers there,
Yeah.
those cars, you don't see them like this.
No.
Because what the residents need to do is, they need to feel the bump with their tires. That's how they know they're far enough in, they park the car and they go. We've taken that away, and so that was the issue. Interestingly, the first year we took out the bumpers, it wasn't so bad. But each year people have gotten worse and worse. They watch other people do it. They may not have thought of it on their own. They see other people do it and then they start doing it. And it's become an epidemic out in the parking lot.
Alright, Herb was next.
You go there on a show night,
Okay.
Saturday night, and getting out of there is chaotic. I choose to wait
Me too.
because
Yeah.
I do also.
So do I.
they all cut across. I mean,
Yeah.
there is nothing, no
You
barrier.
could have a cocktail
Now, if we
lounge.
can't, if we don't wanna have
So you can make extra.
bumpers, maybe we ought to put up something that people can,
What about zoning?
guideline,
Put a delineator.
right, along the whole
That's what I
thing
just
so that they can do it.
Well, I
Wait,
love-
another problem is that people pull in instead of backing in like this. I mean,
Not
no,
allowed.
no, the
They
opposite,
back
the
in,
opposite,
they
the
back
opposite.
in.
When I first moved here many years ago, I didn't see the little sign that said pull forward.
Right,
And I got it.
front end parking only.
Right, but now when I go to the theater, because it happened to me, I check, and there's loads of cars who do that, and that's the ones who cause the problem, because they pull right out.
That's the other issue that we have,
Can't solve.
that security spends so much time dealing with, is the fact that people pull through.
Right.
Now they're parked front end out.
Right.
We have angled parking spaces and now they're angled against the directional arrow.
Right.
Right.
And then I've got people going against the arrows and causing traffic jams, they're fighting, yelling at each other, nobody
no
wants to
solution.
back up.
People are not
There's no
courteous.
solution.
There's no solution.
It's chaotic.
Not courteous.
It is chaotic.
And as far as the car you just showed in the picture, the first one that does that, every car that comes in looks and they go, oh, I'm in line. And it
They're
gets
not just
further
sticking out,
and
yeah.
further and
Yeah.
further
Yeah.
and
It's like
further.
not the course.
There's no solution. And security, when they find them, they leave a note on the car explaining that they shouldn't be doing that. This is a full-time job in itself for
Yeah,
security.
it would be.
Done.
If they use a delineator, then it's not a tripping hazard.
Right.
It's
What's a
something they
delineator?
see,
Yeah.
those things going in.
Those what you just
they're
saw.
moving-
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Less expensive than the
What
concrete
it
bumper,
sounds.
you know, that might.
It'll work.
Okay,
I don't know.
Marilyn.
Yes, I don't know if I can bring this up right now about parking. Can I bring this up now?
Well,
Well, why don't you say it and then we'll find out whether or not you can bring it up.
Saturday night, I went to the show
Oh, this is not enough.
and the show was packed and I'm sure it
Sold
was a
out.
full show.
Sold out.
Yeah, someone had driven me from my building and they had picked up someone else, so there was like 5 of us in the car. They went looking for a parking space. There wasn't one available.
Come early, take the bus.
There are only 330 parking spaces.
Alright, the
1256.
thing was,
Never
on,
mind.
I guess where she parked was
That's
on the
multiplication
grass,
problem.
and there were other cars parked there. When she saw that, that's where she parked.
Right. People, by doing things that they shouldn't be doing, give ideas to other people, and instead of people saying, oh, they shouldn't be doing that, they jump on the bandwagon. And people are desperate for parking spaces,
Where are
they
they
park
supposed to
everywhere.
park then? I mean,
There's no place.
you know,
Can't.
there's nowhere, you couldn't even go down to the medical building, cause
That
that
was
was
so
so
far. I can tell
I mean, the
you.
only thing I can think of personally, and I don't go to all the shows, but when there is a show that we know is going to be a full show, Saturday night dance, mention that it's not, you're not having a dance that night, they can come on
They don't know it's
Sunday.
gonna be sold out. People
And
buy
that
tickets
would
to go
relieve
sit.
some of the parking spots, too.
I know that before I got here, and that was in '87, they would have, so many people were buying tickets for the performer, that they would have double headers 2 nights in a row for the same performer.
That's right.
And all of it was sold out. How they managed it with this parking lot, I have no idea.
You did it.
They all parked at the
Well, we
admin
did,
building.
Buses,
and we would have
car
a 7
pool.
o'clock show and a 9 o'clock.
People were younger, people walked.
Right, my mother lives in Andover, she left the car, she walked for the show and she walked back.
Good for her.
Well,
good if you
it's
can.
lucky if you can walk, but
I
I mean,
know,
they
no,
dropped me off in the handicap
And
spot.
carpooling, people carpool.
Buses.
Yeah.
Where are we, folks?
Carpooling and buses.
That's the easiest thing to do.
Parking
I
lot.
know John had something to say. Now we put his
Well,
hand
that's
down.
what I
Hold
told
on.
you, after the
Tony.
Saturday, have it Sunday.
Tony,
Bottom line is, once again, the way the clubhouse is now, it is not made for the elderly people. You know, I don't wanna say anything, there's not enough parking, you couldn't do it in your greatest. Bottom line is, we have to start promoting things like the buses.
And carpooling.
Because, well, carpooling, that goes without saying, of course, but we have to start promoting, no offense. Your mother and I live about a block or 2 from each other, there's a bus stop right there. Bus stop goes by a quarter after every day. Bottom line, take that, I'm gonna be at the clubhouse in definitely enough time, 7:15, I'll make the 8 o'clock show,
Sure.
no bother.
Sure.
But we don't even encourage it. I mean, no offense, we have $1,000 bus system. It's a phenomenal system, it can really do well, but there is lack of participation.
Well, we're making announcements in the theater, please consider taking the bus or and carpooling.
Not going to.
They're not gonna do it.
And we just started, I Want Joy, it's just gonna be a blurb, she's gonna run every month consecutively for the rest of my time here. Again, consider carpooling and consider taking the bus when coming for a show in season.
folks, options have been presented
Yes.
They have
Yes.
choices, they choose
to
not to.
double or even more than double that parking area.
Just no place.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Right.
You can't keep complaining about it if you don't wanna spend the money for it.
Right.
What are you
Alright?
gonna,
And we're not spending the money.
but you also don't have
Exactly.
any, and you also, for lack of, you don't have enough room for more tennis courts, you don't have enough room for more pickleboard court. So you certainly don't have enough room for more parking, you know it yourself. So bottom line is, we're stuck on this little piece of land that we have. Could we use probably another 25 to 50% more? Yeah, of course. So bottom line is, it's what's known as using your resources to the fullest potential.
There we have it.
Listen, they realized their mistake in West Palm Beach, Boca and Deerfield have parking areas that they don't even use.
I should make
Lots are
I should make
so-
tapes of
I
these
know.
conversations,
Okay.
and when they start,
run
just
them.
hit play.
Rerun.
Because there's
Rerun.
nothing new being added here. There's $1 million proposal on the table. I got a picture of it in my office. Come look at it. We'll add 200 plus parking spaces. You wanna double that, you can go to the bottom part of the island, square it off, and add another 200 to 300 parking spaces. If you're not ready to do it, what are you talking about?
Right.
Marcia,
You know, you're not gonna change people, so then
That's
forget
right.
it, you're not gonna
Preachers
change,
of
but there is
habit.
an easy solution that you don't wanna do. You change the night of the dance, the dance does not have to be on
True.
Saturday night.
That's
That's an easy solution.
Do you wanna work it?
What?
Why no?
Do you wanna work it? Do you volunteer?
The dance?
Anything?
I volunteer, I've been volunteering for 18 years. Don't you-
Nonsense,
okay.
nonsense. You don't volunteer for nothing.
Oh, yeah, sure, Ron.
alright.
We know why you volunteer. You wanna talk about why you volunteer?
Why do I
Hey, hey,
volunteer?
okay, let's start.
Let's not fight.
John,
I just wanna get back to the bumpers and the Atlanta aid. I don't like the bumpers, okay? And the reason being is there's quite a few people I know that have low-end cars, like mine, and they're very expensive. And you can't pull your wheels up to them, cause if you do, somebody's gonna be buying me a front end.
alright, I should imagine
Not me.
that design of bumper is not the only one in the known universe.
That's right.
I should imagine we could find something that's a little lower
Absolutely.
if we worked the problem.
It'd be cheaper
Now,
too.
you wanna really think down the road, let's incentivize people to drive electric cars. Let's have the first 100 spaces with chargers in them. Blah, 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 right?
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
So, there's a lot of
Yes,
things
yes.
we could do. But I know that that is not the only style bumper on earth.
There's low style.
There are lower
Matter of
ones,
fact, plastic
and I
bumpers
agree,
have rebar.
especially
Yeah.
when they don't drive in that rebar.
Right.
That'll rip your car apart,
Oh, yeah.
I have a low car
alright?
also.
Can we go ahead? Can we move along?
Book signing, I think we did book signing.
We did that.
We
We're
did
working
that.
on this, checking into the costs, we'll bring it.
Book signing again?
Could I ask-
No.
Excuse me,
making a
just a sec, no, it was,
Talked about it.
Yes,
No,
we
she
did.
said-
Talking about.
Tony.
can I, just one question, how many bumpers are we gonna need? How many bumpers did you?
330. Not even as many, some already have bumpers.
They already have the perimeter, already has.
The perimeter has the bumpers.
You don't want people driving into the lake.
Oh, no, God forbid. Could I say just one thing on that? Those delineators are nice, and I know that you could see them, but wouldn't they make holes in your car if you make a mistake?
No, they're
Those are on
flexible.
spring action, those are springs, so they'll give way.
Oh, okay, alright, I thought they were hard ones.
No, they're spring.
Just go over. I
They're not
saw
lowered.
Stuart.
Is there a prohibition, a legal prohibition of putting these papers on the window that you could stick on it, and they would have to have a little bit of an aggravation to take them off, saying, you know,
Now you can.
you
These
parked
people
wrong.
would drive with them on.
Not in the front, on the side.
But just to give you a heads up in the past, even when we had the bumpers, the only thing the bumpers will do is keep the traffic going without crossing across. So we still had that same problem with some of these people just don't wanna get close or don't, their eyesight is not.
They can't judge
They
the
can't judge
perception.
it. So not the first time, you know.
People run into them, and they expect, if you have a bumper, people will run into them.
That's why they call it bumpers. They bump into them and know they're far enough.
Actually, their real name is Wheel Stop.
Okay.
Maybe 2 days ago. If you get these lower bumpers,
Low profile.
low profile bumper, yet you have a bumper.
They'll jump
But
over.
those people who you're talking about
They're not gonna
going
see 'em
over the
to walk.
bumpers that we have now,
Yeah.
they won't even see them because it'll be low and they're gonna trip.
Walking.
And that's not to solve the problem that you started out with.
We're gonna look into the different options of
I
what's
know
out
it's-
there.
they tell us
Eliminators.
Eliminators is the best way.
Alright,
Come back with a plan.
Physical balance center.
Let's go to the next one.
one at a time, one at a time. Can we move along from bumpers?
Yes.
Let's go to physical.
We had book signing already,
Yes, we did that.
Physical
balance center.
Okay, well, they are at in the CSI office 2 days a week to give balance assessments. I know sitting in the shows in the balcony area, I watch these people. And balance is a huge issue in this village, and it's also, we know, it's the number one reason for our trips and falls, our balance issues. So they're also by the library, which is where the bus stops. So I would really like to, give them the opportunity to come into the lobby. And hopefully people will approach them, know that they're close by, know that if they don't have a car, they can get to them by bus. All right, and also attack this issue of our trips and falls by encouraging this.
You know, this is a wonderful program, I'm sure. But I think we need to be very careful about getting in bed with vendors. And bringing them into our clubhouse. Because no matter how sweet and nice they are, their principal goal is to get their hands into our pockets.
Exactly.
And I don't know if our clubhouse is the place to do it. I know there's two sides of this. This clearly is something of great value to our people. But is the clubhouse the place to do it?
No.
Barbara.
First of all, I've gone to them. They're on Okeechobee Boulevard. I went to them for therapy a long time ago. And they charge you for this. This is not a free service, whether you have medical reasons or whatever. I know that
The assessment?
back a while, excuse me?
The assessment,
You should talk about the
that they do a free assessment. They're
And a
doing
free assessment to get you to tell you what you have to pay for. It's all the same selling marketing. Believe me, they're marketing you. But the point of the matter is, Office of the Agent came here when I was a vice president, because I brought them in. And they gave a balance class, and many people loved their balance class.
We need that.
She had a very filled class, and it was free, not selling anything, how to get off a chair, how to do different things.
Office of the
Bring it in
Agent.
again.
Office of the Agent, I'll get you her name if I have it.
Area Agency on Aging?
Yes.
Probably is
Same
now.
thing.
That's
I
probably what
call
they
Office
call
of the
it.
Agent.
I work for them.
I might have her number. She's excellent. You've had her in your place. You might have her name in your office downstairs for classes. You'll find out she filled the classes up. I mean, I was working
Why
here.
they stopped?
I don't know. Maybe nobody, when I left, followed up on it. I have no idea. But I will look for her name. I will be glad to call. She's a lovely person.
It's a great idea.
And see, because this is not selling nothing. This is helping our
Should be a nice
people.
class, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And it would be, what is it, like the same $5? I'm sorry.
No money, no money.
One at a time, please.
No
Herb.
Wouldn't Hastings be the ideal building to have something like
Balance
that
house.
rather
No.
than the clubhouse?
Well, no, that would be just that she sets up a table and has her literature out.
No, I'm talking
She's
about
not
actually-
approaching
Not gonna do
anybody,
anything.
it would just be
They're not
people
gonna
coming
do
to pick up the
nothing.
literature and decide whether they wanted to take advantage of even going to see them. Yes, the classes in themselves
The
would take
class,
place
right.
at Hastings, right.
That's what I'm talking.
This is just allowing them to set up a table and put out pamphlets. They're already in the village in CSI.
Barbara.
Did I hear you say that you would have them at Hastings?
No, a class.
A class at Hastings by them?
No, this
No.
one that you're talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, well, she did it in the clubhouse, I'll tell you why. First, we started with a small room, then he gave us a large room, because there was a big interest from the people. It's because all the buses come to the clubhouse, and they don't have to change a bus to get to Hastings, so that's why, and she does need a lot of room, she kept it to a minimum. But I'm gonna tell you, you can ask anyone who might attend it, I'm sure you'll have a list in your office. They loved it, they raved about it.
How many years ago was this? Cause I
Well,
don't remember.
since I'm out of office, so I'm gonna say maybe
4 years?
3-4 years ago.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I have it inside, I think.
Okay.
Tony,
Question, would it be the same as all the other classes, the WPRF classes? I mean, you know, like you pay a small amount of money, or is it free?
Free, office of the agent was free from the county.
And
You know?
separate, yeah, a lot of people
Yeah,
went
because
next
the
door
reason
to
I'm
the
saying
one-
it is,
Thank you, Marcia.
I don't think a lot of people know it, that is,
They do.
that,
They
no,
fill
no,
the
no, no.
class.
But if you have diabetes, you're gonna lose you're gonna start
Feeling
getting,
your-
yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, I think, here, let's.
Alright, I'm gonna make a motion not
Gee,
to
I'm the only
allow,
one, huh?
not to
Shame
allow
on me.
physical balance centers in the clubhouse.
Yes, no, I agree with you.
have a second on that?
I second it.
Okay. You wanna do a show of hands or?
Yeah.
Or just,
Yeah, sure.
okay, all in favor
Of not,
of not,
okay.
here's your motion.
Of what?
Of
not
not
allowing
having
it.
company come in.
Having the
Not
company.
allowing,
All opposed,
to allowing
well,
that.
it's a unanimous. Alright.
So it's a double negative.
Can I make a motion that we have, look into having somebody, a balance instructor come
Oh,
here?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Can
no,
we,
it's
can I make a
agent.
motion for that?
Oh, you
Yeah.
mean the
You don't need a
AAA,
motion, just do it.
Yes.
Barbara-
Office of the
yeah, oh,
agent.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
don't need to make a
Okay, fine.
You don't need to make a motion, I'll go, I don't know.
You'll look into it.
Melissa will know it, but
Yeah.
I will.
I'll
Okay.
give you any information I have to come find.
Swimming.
Yeah, when is that?
It all,
No, resident,
At
no,
Pool
resident
Open
IDs.
It's on channel 60.
I'm gonna save
I
the
like
name
that.
for me for last.
That's
We're
where
on
we
there,
are.
we're up to
You're up
it.
to it.
that's where we
We
are.
have resident owner ID.
Okay, who made
Oh,
that
you're gonna
motion?
skip
Did
over.
Barbara make that motion?
No,
or
I'm
did
not skipping
John?
over it, but Barbara,
I understand.
Okay.
Rhoda
You're
put
looking
it,
at last.
Rhoda put it in a place I wouldn't have put it,
I
it would have
got
been
you.
under discussions.
So you wanna go to resident owner IDs?
Right, I just wanna mention, and Ed's not here,
Fine,
right?
Resident IDs again?
You know, we have, instead of calling, let me back up. Residents, your cards say resident. Alright, but for someone who's an owner but a non-resident, it says non-resident owner. We would like to change the language on the resident cards to owner IDs from resident IDs.
Why?
Because it would match the resident, it would be owner, owner ID and a resident, no,
hold on.
resident, it would be changing it from resident to owner because we have other IDs that say owner, not resident.
My opinion.
So
So
I get to
Joy-
be owner, resident, and somebody else like him gets to be
Alright,
owner,
so
non-resident.
at some point, a decision was made, I don't remember when, to discriminate's the wrong word, but to separate whether you own and live here
Or you're an
or
occupant.
you own and don't live here.
I don't have.
So-
wait a minute,
Or
wait a minute, wait a
if you
minute.
don't own and live here.
Excuse
So,
me?
As a renter,
renter, but you're also an occupant. If
Can
you're
I-
living with someone who's the owner,
and
you're an occupant.
Folks,
You're not
that-
a renter.
I don't know if you've ever seen the
Doesn't
working
matter.
aid that WPRF puts out as to how many different badges there are.
Well, we reduced it down to, we had 13 when I got here, we no
What?
longer have 13, we have maybe 5. I
Five
did away with them.
Why does it matter to distinguish between resident owner and resident non-owner
You know,
and
it was something-
occupant?
It's just keeping the language in line. That's all that we were trying to do. And so instead of resident, it would be owner, just like it would be a non-resident owner, it would be an owner versus occupant and tenant.
Now, I think I heard Marcia say it, is that gonna require revalidation?
Sure.
Right.
A complete replacement of all cards?
Absolutely not. It
Oh.
will- You just, if you decide this, then we just have ABDI change the word, so when the card prints out, it will start printing it out.
I got you.
The next time we would do a revalidation would be if we decide to go to the chip
Proximity, okay,
proximity chip
yeah.
readers.
alright.
Mhm.
Dom,
Sounds
Should
confusing.
an owner, non-resident have to give up his card so that the person who's renting,
Yeah,
Oh,
keeps
yes,
it.
he does.
That's what I'm
That's
How
saying.
it is now.
Absolutely.
they do
so
that.
that eliminates
that
that.
anyway.
That eliminates the card.
Well, no, we hold it on file to give back
Right.
to the owner.
So you would
Once-
change it at that time? you would regenerate it with the new language?
No.
That one doesn't, that language
Just
didn't
going
change.
forward with new owners coming in.
I got you. You go forward. Barbara.
Okay, I have a card. Says resident pass.
Me too.
Okay?
Me too.
I'm sure many people at this table have the same
Exactly.
kind of
We do.
card. Some people have an orange thing on it. I done never looked into it, I don't care what it says. I was told this is enough as an owner to have. So, are you gonna have now these cards and owner cards? Two different types?
Until they're weeded out. Yeah.
Until these are.
It'll take a long time. It's just something to, look, it's to bring it all in line.
Okay, I understand. Do we have
You-
these cards now in your office?
Right, you have the
Do
original
we have to get
pass.
rid of these cards that we
No.
bought?
No.
Oh, okay.
What we did was we changed, don't forget to do the revalidation. We changed we added a stripe. So
Right.
instead of doing the hologram, which is what yours has,
Right.
Herb there has the new one,
Look,
but yours works just as well.
Oh,
And why would we spend the money to bring everybody in? So it's only the new owners
That's an
or people who
alien
damaged their
test.
car
What
and lost it
happened?
that are getting the orange stripe.
they're aliens.
Yours is perfectly good.
Okay, so I'm a resident pass. He's a resident pass with an orange stripe, and now you wanna have an owner name on it.
For future, yes, that we would go forward to change the language. We can say no now and do it all during a revalidation.
That's when you
The
should
next
do
one.
it, all of the revalidation, in my opinion.
Why does Herb have a different look? But
Oh, you got the
Herb.
red, I didn't go
Don't
for it.
ask me, ask him.
You don't do it.
That's the newest.
Now,
Yeah.
when we
Oh, I didn't
talk
get
to
that
people
one.
who have,
I have.
people who live in Greenbrier A, they're owners. We have somebody living in Greenbrier B who's an owner of the same apartment in A. But they're not a resident of A. And that's the clarification, because we never gave them residency at
Only
They're an
gets
owner
one
but not a
card.
resident.
You're an owner,
Right.
therefore you cannot use the facilities in A if you live in B.
Right, we
That's
give
why you
those,
have
those would be
resident on it.
non-resident owners, but they really don't need more than one card. They're only supposed to have a card for their place of residence.
Right.
Exactly, so if we have a discrepancy, we have to go to WPRF to get a validation that they are not a resident
Oh,
of A,
God.
they live in B.
It gets very
Gets worse.
complicated.
How many angels
Yeah, it
on
is.
the
Very
head?
complicated.
Be good all at once, like you did the last time,
I
that's the
don't
way it
disagree.
should be done.
Okay, last,
We have to have
Nude
more
swimming.
security.
I printed all the pictures, but I didn't bring all the pictures.
we're not getting a thrill
No
today.
pictures,
We're not looking at a chip, like a buff Chippendale dancer here, folks, okay?
No, no.
You're gonna thank me that I didn't bring all the pictures.
No,
And
You have John's picture?
And I'm not passing them around.
No.
Oh, shucks.
Oh, God. Ay, ay, ay.
Mr. America.
We don't wanna see them.
Oh,
Look at this.
Oh, lordy me.
terrible.
Hey, look at the American flag above.
It's like a sumo wrestler.
Yeah. I made a recommendation in an email
Oh, God.
in 24-point type red. Nude bathers will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Very good.
And
It's not
we
that
need,
No.
believe me, there's an issue going on in the Orthodox shul. There are two levels involved here. Orthodox and what I'm gonna call, for a better term, Satmar, extreme Orthodox. And they don't necessarily get along with each other. I think jointly, we should approach the president of the temple to make announcements to the congregation about this. Now, they are building a mikveh over there.
Yeah.
Once that mikveh is built, this should solve this problem.
Yeah, sure.
Because this is ritual bathing before prayer. I don't wanna get into attacking anybody's religion, but these people are in violation of county law, indecent exposure, it's as
Right.
simple as that.
That's right.
Now, you know, I sent you that sign somewhat in jest, do you really wanna call the sheriff over this? Or do we wanna try to solve this amicably in the house? I should think a year from now, when that mikvah's up and running, it won't be an issue.
It will solve itself. I can tell you that we were able to identify a resident who we caught at the pool, naked. And I took it to the police. And they consider it a misdemeanor. It is not a felony offense, or it's not anything major. And they weren't even willing to go to the apartment and face them and say, you can't do that, that's indecent what you're doing, it's against the law. So I will bring these pictures to the security meeting on Friday, and we can have this discussion with the police officers there. I don't think we have a recourse, really.
I think we do.
Well, photographs.
Well, we do have an idea.
The recourse is this, don't open until later in the morning.
Yeah. Don't open what?
Because they have to
Open
be
till
at the
later, that's
shul
what I was
at 8
gonna
in the
say.
morning.
Yeah.
So they didn't open it until they can't jump in the pool
That's it,
naked,
he's
get
right.
out, and leave to go.
But that's not fair to the people
It
who
fixes
want
the
to swim.
problem. I don't have to last until
8
this
o'clock.
season's
Somebody's
over.
gonna be punished because
Because
of it.
next season, they're
People
gonna
in
Be
have
denied
to,
a service.
Well,
and we have to be out there then with telescopes to see.
what I need 7 female volunteers.
Oh my God.
That just make sure that they're in the pool first thing in the morning, because the men won't go in.
We did that in Wellington, we had a problem in Wellington.
All right, yeah, that's really a good
But
way
yes.
to
8 o'clock.
mend fences.
Wellington.
Marcia,
Yes,
I have 2 questions. First of all, which pool did that take place in?
Somerset, they seem
Good
to
old
congregate in
Somerset.
Somerset.
Because it's
It
close.
was, and it was a Saturday, so my employee who's there at 7 was not there to deal with the issue.
Right, Tom wasn't there on Saturday.
Right.
Okay,
They shouldn't be
the other
doing
thing is about the mikvah. The mikvah is not being built, they can't get anything from code enforcement, they haven't gotten anything. The only thing they got is the parking lot, they're expanding their parking lot. Because there are 2 fractions at the temple, the Zatmars and the.
Hasidim, ultra orthodox.
Well, and there are violations at the temple, which the temple does not intend to fix because they don't want the mikvah. So that's not happening for quite a long time, if any.
then we have to do something. I'm going on what Jerry said
So am
very
I.
recently,
So am I.
and he said they're building it.
Just the parking lot.
All right.
They were having a water
Anita.
How many people swim at 7 in the morning? Besides the people who go to temple?
Not a lot, though I have some women who've requested that one pool be open early because they have, they get skin cancer very easily and they can't be out in the actual sun. So they want the pool open as early as possible. So I agreed to do that, at a different pool, and it's open by 7:30. And my guys can do that for them. My pool guys, as they go around,
All right,
already on property.
Barbara's statement is very interesting. Gonna have CAM, contact code enforcement. Has this thing been approved or has it not?
Yeah.
Let's get the final word on that.
Jerry tomorrow.
In which case, it throws it back into our court.
That's right.
All right, Barbara.
Okay, 2 things. Number 1, you just said, which is a good idea. One pool, open early, but when that pool is open early, maybe you should have a guard there that early, one of your rovers or whoever, just to see how it goes along. Secondly, I was told, I don't use the swimming pools, but I was told that at Somerset, Tom, your employee, opens the pool at 7. And I don't think that's a good idea, since that's the pool you're having the problem at. Why not try to open it at 8? Just tell him, don't open it till 8.
Well, because we have our tennis players are getting there at 7, they start playing at 7.
Well,
In
let them go
season.
around the other way by the tennis courts.
But Tom would chase them. Tom would not allow it. That's why they come on a Saturday when Tom's not there.
But I've been told, and I can't, I don't go there, but I was told that they do come at 10 to 7 because sometimes he opens the gate earlier. I'm just saying, you can control that. He's your employee.
Oh, of course.
So maybe you should just give it a try for a week, see how it works. That's all I'm saying.
I think also cameras.
That's another story, yeah.
You jump over the fence.
And signs,
All right.
say smile if you're on camera.
We had a couple come to Greenboro. And undress and go in. And they came, I believe, from Golf's Edge, because Golf's Edge has cameras now at their pool to stop people from undressing. So they came to our pool, and then I ran down, and I unfortunately, by the time I got downstairs, they were almost gone. They completely undressed, jumped in the pool, did what they had to do,
And
jumped
he's-
out.
And he's a guest, there's no way to know who he's visiting. And I even had them at the indoor pool, I caught them at the indoor pool. Right?
But
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, it's too cold to go to the outside,
That
wasn't it?
happened even to your predecessor.
But with
She
Greenbrier,
found one in the indoor pool.
with
Remember.
Greenbrier, I said that
She was quite
I would call
upset.
the county and that's trespassing because they don't even live in Greenbrier.
I don't like cameras.
Because of the problem at
That's
Somerset, I even have the statute here, the law, that about indecent exposure that we got from the sheriff's office. So it's all laid out here, what they can do, what they can't do, and sheriff can be called, or something like that.
Obviously, he can be called, but he doesn't have to
By the time they
respond.
come, he will never catch them in time, and this is not a lewd or lascivious act where we had actually at Somerset, somebody who was flashing, who was coming dressed and then would flash on their feet.
We always had other
That was
things, they like
different
to change
than-
on the chairs, some of the people would change on the chairs, some of them we caught, some of them we haven't caught, but we're working on it at Somerset. We're working on it at Somerset.
Stuart.
At Golf's Edge, what was also irritating to people who were running the pool and the president, vice president, the babies, people had their babies, infants, and putting them in the pool without the proper diaper that
Swim
is
diapers.
sold, swim diapers. And Cookie came in, who she was in charge of that, to ask me what to do. And I said, threaten him, you're gonna drain the pool.
Yeah.
So in turn, they backed off, and what the Golf's Edge did was buy a wading pool, and that resolved the problem. I don't wanna sound facetious, but they sell these plastic poop things that look like dog poop that float in the water. When the man opens up the pool on Saturday morning, throw 2 or 3 pieces in there and let it float around. Then you have a sign, swim at your own risk.
Right. Yeah.
It sounds, a little silly, but who knows, that the cheapest way I can think of to save money and get these people to stop.
Sarabino will jump on that.
They have to have a name for this in government, Stuart. It's called strategic command and control countermeasures.
Yeah.
I have made contact
I know.
with several members of the board of House Support on Harvard Hill. They do not support this behavior, and a notice will be going out to the congregation this week.
Excellent.
In several languages, and directed at the community that's engaging in this behavior. They're gonna cooperate with the community in every way.
Good, that's
So
good.
I think that might go a long way to helping solve the
And hopefully the residents, the Hasidic residents will tell that to their families and their guests when they come, and
Yes.
not go and do this at the pools.
I'm just gonna throw out a few names. Williamsburg, Kiryas Joel, and other places. You don't wanna get into open conflict.
No.
If you lose your whole village.
Right.
They'll buy this, they're
buying it now.
buying lots and lots and lots, and they will take over your village.
They're doing that now, and they're going to do that, they're going to take over the village, but it'll take time, we won't be here, we'll be dead.
Speak for yourself.
We would like to reach an accommodation. All right, Barbara.
I have a question. You mentioned about cameras. Do we have any cameras at any of the pools?
I don't think you're allowed to.
Wait a minute.
We do at Kent.
At Kent? Why?
We have a camera at Kent because we have we have things stored in that space over there.
Do you have it
Not at
on
the
where, that's what I'm asking. I'm talking about, does it scope the people who are sunbathing or going into the pool? Cause that's an invasion of privacy in my opinion, and I don't think any camera should be on anybody at a pool site, I really don't.
That's right.
I didn't think they
It's
were.
not a privacy issue because you are at a pool area where people can come and go.
Does
Other
it say under
residents-
surveillance?
We would, that particular camera, side vision, you can see the doors to the bathrooms and then the gate coming in. Okay, but it's not trained
So
on
it's
the pool,
it's the
it's
gate
more
of
for
the people
security.
coming in to the pool. All I'm asking you is, do you have a sign up saying this pool or this gate is under surveillance, that's all.
No, I don't.
Okay, then it is illegal.
So, just to let you, we brought this up many years ago, and Mary back then was against it. There's two things on this. If you put a camera on that pool, then there was a situation that you should be monitoring if something happened to that pool.
That's right, you could be sued, that's
You
what
could be
I'm
sued
telling
for
you.
it. So there's a lot, and the privacy portion of that.
Yeah, but also
So-
you can be sued for just that purpose.
So there's some legal things which I'm not familiar, but Mary would be the right.
I will, anecdotally, you may be aware of this. You mentioned Cookie Courier over at Golf's Edge.
She has a problem.
Some years ago, she put up a high resolution camera, which she could monitor from her home.
In
where-
Michigan.
Michigan.
She's still
And here comes one of these nude bathers, and a voice of God comes from Cookie Courier. No nude bathing in this pool.
Whoa.
Wait. This gentleman went to his attorney.
Good for him.
And she had terminate that
That's
activity.
right.
I don't think she's terminated that activity.
Oh, yeah.
She still
Whatever.
has it. She was in my office about this very issue that Stu was talking about.
comes
They
in the
solved
bingo
the
with
problem
her
with the waiting pool, but
Alright.
as far as I know, she still has that camera, but they're going to, she's going to deactivate it from being able to see it in Michigan, and they're gonna make it a building camera.
Now
that the
there's
officers can
there's
see.
another camera in the field of full disclosure. We have a sweeping camera over at
Southampton.
Southampton.
Yeah, that's another bad.
Now, it's not focused on the pool, but as it moves, it does sweep past the gate of the pool. If someone is in that immediate area, it might catch them on a sweep.
Yeah.
But actually, it's trying to prevent people, or trying to catch people coming over the fence.
Oh, okay.
The wall and the
Right,
fence.
security.
That's really what it's there
Not
for.
nude, I hope.
It's in no way is it focused on the pool. But as it sweeps past, you might get half a second where it's just catching.
Sure.
Yeah.
Question, would a camera deter someone who wanted to bathe nude?
I think it would. I think, one of these pictures, he's actually looking at the person taking the picture. And I don't think he was very happy, and I don't think he's been back since.
Oh, okay.
Eva, at the Somerset pool, I go out to walk every morning at 7:15. In the past, there have been 14 cars of the ultra-Orthodox who were going into the pool. The last couple of weeks, I noticed that 2 couples from Somerset B are going out at 7:15 in the morning, men and women, and going into the pool, whether or not it's spite or they're
Yeah.
swimmers, but the number of people who have been going to the pool has dropped.
As Marcia said, the residents at some point have to help out.
Right.
Alright, there's only so much I can do.
Right.
Call the police, they can take an hour to get there, they've been and gone, and we've accomplished nothing. So it gets to a point where the residents have to take matters into their own hands, and I say, I applaud that.
Well, they evidently
Absolutely.
have. The number of cars has dropped.
Good. I don't know why Somerset is the pool of choice for these people.
Because we're inundated.
Because the people at Somerset are the nicest people, that's why.
Well, they're not at Camden, I can tell you that.
I think we're done.
Yeah, that's mine, that was just backup if anybody had asked, but I didn't discuss the cost
I got it.
of these particular, is those removable bollards.
One other comment. A while back in New York City, they, when gangs used to congregate on corners and so on, the city went ahead and put up loudspeakers and they played music that was so objectionable to these people that they stopped going. I'm just wondering if we could put up a tape of a squeaking door making lots of noise while these people are in. Or
I know the rest. Yeah. I know.
Oh, they do that.
The fluid poop would not work for me, I would
Are
go
we
that
still
way.
on subject, because I have something else that
Go
I've
ahead,
been
Ruth.
waiting, okay. I'm sorry Ed left because I mentioned it to him and he said it would be best brought to Eva. The new push button system that you have at the side door,
Front of the
supposedly
clubhouse or the pool entrance, which one?
front of the clubhouse,
Okay,
the
south side
second door.
doors.
Right, where you push a button, show your ID, connects to the front desk and you get in. Sunday, I happened to meet someone in the parking lot who was going in. She's a member of transportation, Phyllis, if you know her. And she and two of us, she said, I'm gonna use that button entrance. I said, let me see how it works. And she did. She pushed the button, showed it, her door opened, and three of us walked in.
Yes,
Now.
we knew that was gonna happen.
Oh, okay, you know about
They
it.
watch and they're supposed to meet the others.
Nobody came.
Okay, but the issue is now I've got 3 guards. One of them's patrolling the parking lots, one of them's patrolling the pools. I've got one basically at the main entrance. Or unless something happens, if there's a trip and a fall, they have to do a report, but yes.
Okay, I use that door a lot since you put it up, I think it's very convenient. And I will tell you that if a guard looks at my card, he said, who's that guy in back of you? I wanna see his card, which is Frank. And he checks it, so if somebody didn't check those others,
They didn't.
it's no fault but the guard who answered that phone.
No, I'm not
He should have
blaming
asked
the
for
guard.
it. It's the guard's
We're gonna
fault.
talk about that.
Alright,
Alright, with speaking about this incident, I came in with my walker, got out of the car, and there were 3 of us, when was it?
The other day, doesn't matter.
It's the other day. Anyways, I had pressed the button, I showed my card, I opened the door. In the meantime, it was the woman guard. She came from where she was sitting over to that door and she says, there's 2 others with you.
Yeah, she's
And she checked the cards of the 2 other people.
Okay.
Well, that's
not gonna
good.
happen when they're busy.
alright.
That's the way it's supposed to
Right.
work,
That's not gonna
and
happen
we
when
have
when
new
they're
guards that are gonna make sure that they are trained properly. I'll mention it to Steve so that he can get on them, and that's exactly what they should be doing. Everyone should show an ID
Yes.
when coming in, and if there are those that do sneak in, they should be right there to catch them and say, where are your IDs?
Alright, John?
Yesterday after the executive board meeting, as we was leaving, you go down out the door by the carpenter shop.
Right.
That door
Which
was,
shop?
that door was ajar, it wasn't completely closed, I don't know whether
Going in,
going out.
going in, it was open.
to the wood shop,
No, the door going outside,
the back door
the
was
back
ajar.
door was ajar, I don't know whether somebody left it open or it wasn't closing properly, but a couple.
Sometimes the air holds it open.
Couple of people approached me and asked me about it, and was wondering if there was some way, if those doors are ajar, an alert would be up, like if you let people in and the door closes, fine, but that it should, if it don't close, somebody should be aware
That's
of
how we
it.
found when we
Because-
left the executive board meeting.
Excuse
John,
me?
remember? No, John, when we left the executive board member.
That's what I just said.
That's what we're talking about.
I just said, but,
Okay.
but they're wanting to know if there's some kind of a alarm system where if a door is left open, do you know it unless somebody walks around and looks?
It's a good thing, I'm glad that you asked that. I've got some major issues actually with the wood shop. We're having a sign made of all the rules, they have to sign the rules. I've got 3 in there that are doing what they want. Now, we have a system in there that's supposed to filter the air,
Yeah.
because of all the
Yeah,
cuttings.
yeah.
The only reason they're supposed to use that back door is to bring in wood.
Oh, the door,
Instead of through the front of the clubhouse.
I'm not talking about their door, I'm talking about the one in front where you.
Right there in the hallway.
Right in the hallway.
Oh, that's
That
the one.
hallway.
That was ajar. Oh,
That
Right
was open where.
outside the
Where a
inside.
person
use
would
that
walk
door.
in that door versus going down to the next one using the push button.
Well, that's normally closed and it's on.
Oh, I know it's normally closed, but it wasn't, that's what I'm saying, is there
We have to
some
find
way
out
to set
why.
that up to where if it's not closed properly, somebody's aware of it, cause somebody could go in and out and.
It should be an alarm door, cause
The doors were
you can let
open.
anybody in through there, so it should be alarmed, they should be going out the front.
Should be alarmed.
Right.
Well, it's handy to go out.
I'm just saying that's what.
Yeah.
It's 12:30.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Wait.
If everyone will please talk one at a time,
Yeah.
wait to be recognized. Now, while we're talking about doors, I will mention that the door that's where the buses stop
Yeah.
is really beat up. And I don't think it closes every time. I heard something about wood cuttings We're not cutting any pressure treated lumber in that room, are we?
No,
Okay.
no, that's one of the rules, and it's not for home improvement projects either. I had a guy
gotcha.
showed up with copper tubing he wanted to.
Alright.
Yes.
What else? We got anything else? Cause I think we've exhausted the stack here. John?
I just wanna say that last night's event, Clubhouse, was outstanding, there's over 300 people at it, and it was very
What was
good.
that?
Unbelievable.
What event?
The doo-wop.
The doo-wop.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, the
right.
doo-wop.
Barbara?
I just wanna say, because I had to check with Eva yesterday, I didn't know that not on a show night, I'm specifying that. Any other time, if you have a walker, Marilyn, which you do, you can have the person pull the car up in the front of the clubhouse to let you out.
They chased us away.
Hey, I wanna tell you something, I know, I was chased away when I had Betty in my car, I had to drop her off. But I found out from Eva yesterday, it seems like she's gonna straighten it out with the guards, that is the policy, not on a show night. So I wanna let you know, cause I know you have a walker.
Well, I don't go to too many shows because I don't go out.
Yeah, well, not the shows, but any other.
You're saying that you can park in front of the clubhouse.
That's what I was
To
told.
drop somebody off.
Yes, yes.
I will say something about a car that stops there. If the walker is going to emerge on the clubhouse side, that car has to be sufficient distance from the curb to allow that to happen safely. If the other door opens and that lane, the left lane is blocked, I don't think they should allow anything to stop there. That's why we have that beautiful cut in,
That's what I told yesterday.
right?
I had brought this up to Eva, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but since we're talking about safety and everything, I thought about it last night. And I really felt that a car should go up to there, especially since you have the new system where you can show your card. And they can go inside if they're tired, they can sit down. But yesterday, somebody was there with a car, letting a person out with not a walker, basket, shopping cart. And I told the guard, and he said to me, "It's okay, if I don't let them do it, I'll be sued." And he was very abrupt, to tell you the truth.
Do you know who the guard was?
Steve,
He'll be sued. You said that.
yes.
This is an issue for
That's okay, he's the captain.
Bradman.
Get rest, get number, get in line.
I heard mumblings of a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Alright, thank you all.
Great job, Monica and Eva and Dan. Ron, I have to run home and try to get my form. If my husband's there to seal it, what if I can't be back by 1? Can I bring it in the morning? Or is it too late? Okay. All right, thanks. I'll try to get back.
Barbara. You want to wait for you?